Hello everyone, my name is Parvinder and you are watching the complete ethical hacking course. First of all, I would like to say thanks to everyone who has shown their support to the Wi-Fi hacking course. If you haven't watched that course already, then I will suggest you to just click on the link given in the description below to watch that course. Now, as promised, this course was released on Udemy some time back. I am offering that course for free of cost to all of my YouTube audience. So my humble request is to watch this course completely online, as it will help me to increase my watching hours and I will be able to monetize my channel. If you believe this course will help you in your ethical hacking career, then you can also consider me for donation. You can donate some amount using the PayPal. The content you are watching in this course comes under the ethical hacking, which is purely the subjective part of cybersecurity. So this is the humble request to YouTube not to flag the video or mark it as inappropriate, because we have done the lab setup of routers and other operating systems that we are trying to hack. So nobody is harmed and we haven't hacked anyone while making this video. And I also request the viewers to perform all the steps in a lab setup only. Do not try to hack anyone. Keep it ethical and keep yourself safe. Now let's head over to the video. Hello guys, welcome to the course overview video of Learn Ethical Hacking from Scratch. My name is Parvinder and I'm working as a software engineer in an IT company. Apart from being a software engineer, I'm also working on security from more than 4 years. Before this course, I have also published few courses about security and Raspberry Pi. So, I hope that will help me to put my thoughts more clearly in front of you. As you can see here, this course is divided into 5 parts. First part is about the lab setup and the software installation. In this section, we will basically set up a penetration testing lab from very scratch. This penetration testing lab will have 3 different operating systems in it. One will be our hacking operating system called Kali Linux. Other 2 will be our practice OS called Metasploitable 2 and Windows 8.1. After doing the setup of lab, we will head over to the section 2. And the name of this section is Exploring Penetration Testing. In this section, we will talk about the layman definition of penetration testing. Then moving forward, we will also take some good examples to explain the penetration testing in detail. After explaining the definition of penetration testing, we will talk about the different types of penetration testing like white box testing, grey box testing, as well as the black box testing. Not only that, we will also talk about the active and passive information gathering. Moving forward, we will also exploit a virtual machine called Q-Patrick's Level 1 machine. This virtual machine will help us to understand how actually the hacking process works. After learning about the core aspects of the penetration testing, we will start off with the third section. And the name of this section is System Exploitation. In this section, you will get to know about metasploit, creating a payload with MSF Venom, using the encoder to encode the payload, as well as creating an undetectable payload that cannot be detected by the antivirus. After that, we will explore the reverse shell and we will hack the victim's webcam to see the live streaming on Kali Linux. Not only that, we will also talk about some advanced command like keystroke recorder. As soon as we will start the keystroke recorder on the victim PC, all the keys typed by the victim on his PC will be forwarded to us. In this way, we can also grab some sensitive information like the Facebook or Gmail credentials. Moving forward, we will talk about the next section named as Web Application Penetration Testing. In this section, we will talk about the basics of web pen testing. Later in this section, you will also get to know about proxy, its types, intruder, repeater, and interceptor. After talking about the burpsuite in detail, we will talk about a severe vulnerability called remote code execution. At the end of this section, I will also explain the SQL injection vulnerability, and then we will exploit an intentionally vulnerable virtual machine called Q-Patrick's Level 2. In the last section, we will start off with the basics of network penetration testing. We will set up the monitor mode on our USB Wi-Fi adapter. After enabling the monitor mode on a USB Wi-Fi adapter, you can jam any Wi-Fi router existing in a particular area. Not only that, you will also get to see how many clients are connected to a particular Wi-Fi router without even connecting your PC to that Wi-Fi router. Later in this section, we will crack the password of a Wi-Fi router with the help of CPU, and then later on with the GPU. If you are a beginner or at the intermediate level, this course will be helpful for both of the persons, as I will start all these things from very scratch. Let me tell you guys, course content is not limited here. If you will join this course, then you will get the exclusive access to the resources files that are having lots of content in them. So what are you waiting for? Just join the course and see the magic of learning. In this tutorial, we will install Kali Linux on Windows PC. So if you have Mac or any other operating system, then it's not a big issue. All you have to do is to follow this video. Rest, you only need to download the compatible software for your operating system. Like here in Windows, I have the .exe file. Similarly, you need to download the Mac compatible file. Rest procedure is same. So, before going ahead to the procedure of installing the Kali Linux in your Windows PC, we really have to understand what really Kali Linux is. So, Kali Linux is a penetration testing distribution. It is basically based on Linux distribution in which there are multiple hacking tools are installed. Like there are several tools for hacking the Wi-Fi networks around you, and not only that, you will also get some tools to recon the networks around you. So Kali Linux basically have the solution to everything that you do in the hacking. Like if you want to perform the information gathering for a company, then the Kali Linux has the dedicated section for performing the information gathering. Now let's say if you are a security researcher and you want to test out the web application of your client, then Kali Linux also have that section for you. And that particular section will have the complete tools in it. If you are interested in electronics and reverse engineering, then you will also get the dedicated section for the reverse engineering and electronics. Now the question comes how you can install it. So basically there are two ways to install the Kali Linux on your Windows PC. Either you can dual boot your Windows PC with the Kali Linux, but that is a risky game. I will never recommend you to do the dual boot since it can result in corruption of the data or you might lose all the data of your PC. Second way to install the Kali Linux is to install it virtually. So what we will gonna do in this video tutorial is we will install the Kali Linux virtually on the Windows PC. Now the question comes, what should be the hardware specs that are required for installing the Kali Linux on Windows PC? First, your computer should have minimum 2 GB RAM. Second, it should have minimum Intel i3 processor. Third, it should have minimum 100 GB hard drive. Talking about the fourth thing, and that is graphics card, which is completely optional. Now the question comes, which softwares are required to install the Kali Linux on your Windows PC? And not only the Windows PC, if you want to install the Kali Linux on Mac operating system, then you can also do it. All you have to do is to just install the following softwares. First one is the VMware player or the VMware workstation. Second one is the WinRAR software to extract the file which we will download. So for installing the Kali Linux onto a VMware player, first we have to download the VMware player. So let me click on the Google Chrome and then type in here VMware player download. Now let me click on the very first link, and here we have two versions of VMware. First one is for the Windows and second one is for the Linux. Of course we are using the Windows operating system, so let me just download the VMware workstation for Windows and click on start download. As you can see, we have VMware player right in front of us. So let me just double click on it to install. Now it is asking if you want to enhance the keyboard driver. So I don't want to go with this step, so I'll just click on next. And now it is asking if you want to join the VMware customer experience program. So I'll just unmark this option And also I don't want to check for the product updates on startup, so I'll also unmark this and click on next. Now it is asking if you want to create the shortcut on desktop and program menu folder, so I'll just click on next and click on install. Now as you can see guys, we have installed the VMware workstation right in front of us. Now it's time to install the Kali Linux on that VMware player. So for installing the Kali Linux, first we have to download it. So let's open up the Google Chrome to download the Kali Linux. And as you can see guys, we have lot many versions of Kali Linux. You can try any one of them, but for this tutorial series, I am going to download the Kali Linux 32-bit. Now as you can see guys, the file size of Kali Linux 32-bit is 2.8 GB. Now it's time to install that Kali Linux onto our VMware player. So now let's open up the VMware player and click on create a new virtual machine. And here I am going to choose install a disk image file because we have also downloaded the ISO file from the kali.org. So let's click on browse and then choose your file which you have downloaded, and here I have Kali Linux 32-bit. So let's click on open and after that click on next. Now you need to choose the platform or the type of operating system that you are installing. So we are installing the Kali Linux, which is basically the Linux distribution, and I'm going to choose the Debian 9.x because our Kali Linux is of 32-bit. So let's click on next. Now I will name this machine as Kali Linux 32-bit and click on next. Now we need to allocate the size to our operating system, and I'm going to allocate around 30 GB. And let's click on store virtual disk as a single file and click on next. Hard drive is of 30 GB and memory that we are giving to our Kali Linux operating system is 512 MB. So let's click on customize hardware and increase the amount of RAM that we are giving to the Kali Linux. So I'm going to give 2 GB RAM to my Kali Linux operating system because my system is right now having 8 GB RAM. So I can give around 1/4 of my system memory. So let's click on close and let me just click on finish. Now here you can see I have a list of Kali Linux 32-bit on the left side. Now simply click on play virtual machine. Now there is a pop-up which is asking would you like to install any kind of software update. So I'll simply click on remind me later. Now use the arrow key to come on the graphical install and hit enter on it. Here you can see it is asking for the select a language. So let me select my language as English and click on continue. And let me choose my country as India and click on continue. Now here it is asking for the keyboard language and my keyboard language is going to be American English. So let me click on continue. Now it is asking for the hostname and I am going to give the hostname as Kali. Click on continue. Now it is asking for the domain name and I am going to enter the local domain here. Click on continue. Now it is asking for the root password and I am going to set up a password here which I will use when I will try to log in into my Kali Linux. So just remember this password. If you will not be able to remember this password, then you will not be able to log in into your Kali Linux. So let's click on continue. Now it is asking for the partition disk, like where you want to install this Kali Linux. In the beginning we have given the 30 GB space to our Kali Linux and that's where we are going to install the Kali Linux. So I will simply choose the first option that use the entire disk to install the Kali Linux on it. So just choose the very first option and click on continue. Now again click on continue and again click on continue with the default options. Click on finish partitioning and write changes to the disk and click on continue. And now it is asking do you really want to write all the changes on the disk. So let's click on yes and click on continue. Now it is installing the system and it will take around 5 to 10 minutes to do it. Now it is asking if you want to use a network mirror. So I'll simply click on no and click on continue. Now it is configuring the packet manager. And as you can see guys, now it is installing the grub bootloader. Now it is asking if you want to really install the grub bootloader, so I'll simply click on yes and then click on continue. Now it is asking for the file system where you want to install the grub bootloader. So I will install the grub bootloader on dab SDA. So I'll simply click on dab SDA and click on continue. Now as you can see guys, installation has been completed and I will click on continue to finish this completely. Now it is performing the final steps to complete the installation of the Kali Linux. Now as you can see guys, Kali Linux has been completely installed in front of you. Now it is booting up the Kali Linux operating system for the very first time. Now it is asking for the username that we need to enter. The username is root and the password is what we have entered on the installation time. So let's enter that password. Now as you can see guys, this is the Kali Linux right in front of you guys. So let me just click on full screen, but as you can notice here, it is not able to go on to the full screen mode. So we have to enable the full screen mode of Kali Linux, and that's what we are going to do in the upcoming minutes. So for enabling the full screen, we have to install the repository into our Kali Linux. So for that, simply open up the terminal and then type in here nano. And as you can see guys, we have some sort of repositories here, but we have to remove everything from this file and then we will add the few repositories of Kali Linux. So for getting the repositories, open up your browser and then type in here Kali Linux 2018 repository, and after that click on the second link, Kali Linux repositories. Copy this very first text, so paste in here and remove the hash from the front of this line. Before saving this file, let me make these HTTP repository to HTTPS. So put the S right after HTTP and then press the Ctrl X together and then press Y and then hit enter. In this way, the sources.list file has been updated. But now we perform the system update, which will update the repositories as well. So simply type in here apt and then update. All the links to the repositories, software and content will be given in the resources file. So in case if you don't know where I am browsing, then you can directly refer to the resources file. Now as you can see guys, the repositories has been updated. Now it's time to install the tools which will enable the full screen of our Kali Linux. So let's install them by using the apt. Now press Y to continue. Now it is going to take some time to install those tools into our Kali Linux. Now just after that we need to reboot our Kali Linux, and after the reboot hopefully we will be able to get the full screen of our Kali Linux. Now let's log in again. Now let me just click on the full screen and see if we are able to switch to the full screen or not. And as you can see guys, we have successfully switched to the full screen. Now let me just click on that full screen icon and it will become our complete desktop. Okay, so this is the Kali Linux right in front of you guys. You can see the application, and under the application we have lot many menus: information gathering, vulnerability analysis, web application analysis, database assessment, and so on and so forth. And under the each section we have lot many tools here. In the next video, I will tell you how you can install the metasploitable onto your VMware player. So stay tuned and see you in the next video. In the previous tutorial, we have installed the Kali Linux onto our VMware player. Now it's time to install the metasploitable on VMware player. So what metasploitable is? Metasploitable is an intentionally vulnerable VM that consists of the different vulnerabilities. And we will use that machine for improving our penetration testing skills throughout this particular course. So it becomes really interesting for us to download and install it onto our VMware player. As you can see guys, here we have the metasploitable 2, and under the description section you will get to see this. Metasploitable is an intentionally vulnerable Linux virtual machine. This VM can be used to conduct security training, test security tools, and practice common penetration testing techniques. The default login and password is msfadmin. So let me just click on the metasploitable Linux to download it. As soon as you will click on this, you will be prompted with a pop-up here. And there we go. Now it is downloading the metasploitable 2 and the size of this file is 800 megabyte. Alright guys, so here you can see we have downloaded the metasploitable 2 right in front of you guys, and I have also extracted that metasploitable into the separate folder, and both files are given on the desktop. Now what I will do is I will open up the VMware player which we have installed in the very first video. So what I will do is I'll go on to the home and then I will click on open a virtual machine. And right after that, you need to open up the metasploitable Linux extracted file. Now you can see the listing of metasploitable 2 Linux. Now select this file and simply click on play this virtual machine. Now it is asking us something. This virtual machine might have moved or copied. If you don't know, answer I copied it. So simply click on I copied it. Now grub boot is loading. As you can see guys, we have metasploitable login here. The default username is msfadmin. Hit enter, and now the default password is also msfadmin. And here you can see guys, we have msfadmin metasploitable console right in front of us. Now simply press ls here and we have got some sort of folder here. Let me go inside it and you can see lot many folders under this. We have MySQL, Samba and things like that, but we will explore all these things together in the separate video. But for now, let me talk about the connection between the Kali Linux and this metasploitable 2. Now let me find out the IP address of my metasploitable machine. So for finding out the IP address, all I need to do is to just type in here ifconfig, and here we have the IP address of our metasploitable machine, and look at the IP address. The IP address is 192.168.30.129. Now what I will do is I will also open up my Kali Linux machine. Alright, Kali Linux is right in front of us. Simply log in with your password. Now let me find out the IP address of my Kali Linux. And my IP address of Kali Linux is 192.168.30.128. And the IP address of my metasploitable 2 was 192.168.30.129. Now let me ping metasploitable 2 from Kali Linux and see if my Kali Linux will be able to talk with metasploitable 2 or not. So I will simply type in here ping and the IP address of our metasploitable machine. Now as you can see guys, my Kali Linux is able to ping the metasploitable 2. Now let me repeat the same process from the metasploitable to Kali Linux. And you know the IP address of my Kali Linux is 192.168.30.128. Let's type in here ping 192.168.30.128, which is the IP address of our Kali Linux. Now as you can see guys, my metasploitable is also able to talk with Kali Linux. It means the connection is established between the both operating systems. So let me press the Ctrl C here and let me try to access the metasploitable 2 from the browser of our Kali Linux. Now as soon as I will type in the IP address of our metasploitable 2 from the Kali Linux, you will see the browser will make a request, and here we have the complete list of tools which are installed in the metasploitable 2, and we are going to access those tools from our Kali Linux. First of all, we have the phpMyAdmin, second we have the Mutiliday, and third one we have the DVWA, and fourth one we have WebDAB. These are all the web applications which are vulnerable to the different vulnerabilities, and we will use all these applications for increasing our website penetration testing skills, and we will use them in the further videos. I will tell you all these things in the upcoming section where we will talk about website penetration testing. Alright guys, so this is it for the video. We have completely installed the metasploitable and we have also established the connection between the Kali Linux and metasploitable 2. Now in the next video we will talk about how we can install the further applications for setting up our lab environment. So stay tuned and see you in the next video. So till now we have installed the Kali Linux and we have also set up the metasploitable 2 for doing the penetration testing. But now in this video we are going to install the Windows operating system into our VMware, because we cannot perform the actual penetration testing task on this particular Windows machine. because this operating system is your host operating system and I don't want any one of you should damage your host operating system. So for that we are going to install the Windows 8 onto our VMware player. Here you can see I have downloaded the Windows 8.1 activated ISO file. I will leave the link to the torrent file so that you can easily download it and then you can install it into your VMware player. So for installing it, first of all we need to open up the VMware player. Here we have the VMware player. Now simply click on create a new virtual machine. Click on the installer disk image file. Now choose your file, go to the desktop and choose Windows 8.1 Pro and click on open. And right after that you need to click on next. And right after that simply click on next. And you did not enter the product key, would you like to continue? So since it is the activated version, so I can continue without entering the key. So simply press on yes and then click on next. Give it maximum size to be 60 GB and store this file as a virtual single file. Click on next. Now what you need to do is you need to simply click on finish. Now it is saying it is creating a disk. Now as soon as it will finish creating the disk, then you will get to see the boot of Windows 8.1. And here you can see Windows 8.1 is installing. Simply click on remind me later. Now it is installing the Windows into our PC. Now it is asking us to restart the Windows, so simply click on restart now. Now as you can see guys, we have successfully installed the Windows 8.1 into our host operating system. So let's click on full screen, but as I can see it is not able to switch to the full screen. Alright, so we also don't require the full screen mode here because we don't have to do many things into the Windows PC. All we need to use it just for exploiting this. Now the question comes why we have installed the Windows 8 into our host operating system, and the reason is very simple. In the upcoming sections, we will talk about system penetration testing, where we talk about how we can hack or exploit the Windows 8 and how we can even get the system administrator rights on the Windows PC. So that part will come into the system penetration testing. So stay tuned for the videos. First thing is we need to check the IP address of our Windows PC. For that I will simply type in here IP config. As you can see here we have 192.168.30.130 as the IP address of our Windows PC. Here we have Kali Linux and we have also installed the Windows into our PC. So I need to make sure that my Kali Linux should be able to communicate with the Windows PC that we have installed on the VMware. So for that I will simply log in into my Kali Linux and I will try to ping the Windows PC. So let me open up my terminal and here I will type in here the IP address of my Windows PC, which is 192.168.30.130. So this is the IP address of my Windows 8.1 which I'm running on VMware player. So my Kali Linux should be able to ping the Windows PC. So let's check out. And here you can see guys, my Kali Linux is not able to ping the Windows PC. So let me check the reason why we are not able to do it. So let me check the ping command from the Windows PC and I will try to ping the Kali Linux from here. 128 right there. My Windows PC is able to ping the Kali Linux, but Kali Linux is not able to ping the Windows PC. So we need to do something about it. Here you can see the default gateway is 192.168.30.2. So let me check if my Kali Linux is also having the same gateway or not. So I'll simply type in here route route and double E, which will show the gateway. And as you can see guys, gateway is also same as of Windows PC. It means my Kali Linux and my Windows operating system which is installed on the VMware are into the same network. So let me find out the reason why we are not able to ping Windows which is installed on the VMware player from the Kali Linux. So I just find out that if we are running Kali Linux and Windows on the VMware player, then Windows does not allow any Linux operating system to ping it. So what we have to do is we need to check this matter with the physical system. So here I'm running the Windows 10 on my host operating system, and the IP address of my actual host system is 192.168.0.102. So I will try to ping 192.168.0.102 from my Kali Linux. If we are able to ping the actual host operating system from this Kali Linux, then it means we can ping any other physical system in the network. So let me try to ping it. So here you can see guys, I am able to ping my host operating system from the Kali Linux. It means in the network we can ping any other system which is running physically. So let me press Ctrl C here. But as soon as I will try to ping this Windows 8 which is running on VMware from Kali Linux, then I will not be able to ping that Windows 8.1. So if I want to ping it from my Kali Linux, then I have to disable the firewall of it. So here you can see I have disabled the firewall of Windows guest operating system. And here you can also see the IP address is 192.168.30.130. Now I will try to ping the Windows 8 from Kali Linux. So let's enter the IP address 192.168.30.130 and hit enter. And here you can see guys, I am able to ping Windows 8 from the Kali Linux. So don't think like that we have disabled the firewall of guest operating system, only then we will be able to hack the Windows 8. This is not the case, but for the environment setup, for the lab setup, we have to do it. But if we talk about in the real and physical network, then if a Kali Linux is running on one system and Windows PC is running on different system physically, then our Kali Linux will be able to ping the Windows PC. But on the VMware, somehow it is not possible. Windows does not allow any Linux operating system or specifically Kali Linux to ping it. That's why we have disabled the firewall. I hope you understood the concept. In the next section, we will talk about the basics of the penetration testing, and we will also see different types of penetration testing. From that particular section, you will get the idea how many types of penetration testing exist and which one you should choose. So thanks for watching this video guys. This was the complete first section. Hello guys, welcome to the second section of penetration testing with Kali Linux. In this section, we will basically talk about the types of penetration testing. And then we will also talk about the information gathering. Now we are actually starting the Kali Linux course. So it is very important for you to understand the definition of penetration testing. At beginning, the definition of penetration testing can be quite complex. So let me take an example to actually tell you the definition of penetration testing. Let's say I have a company named as XYZ, and my company is having two products. One is the web application and second one is the Android application. Now my quality assurance team has found all the possible bugs. Now they are sure that there is no functional bug left in the products. But they are not sure about the security of the product. So I have decided to perform the penetration testing against my web application and the Android application. So for that, I will go to the security service company and I will sign a contract with them. And I will basically ask them to hack my products. Now what security company will do is, they will basically align the number of hackers to hack into my web application as well as the Android application. Now, after performing this process, they will give me a report. And that report will be all about the vulnerabilities that they have found in the Android application as well as the web application. Now, my company will analyze all the vulnerabilities and then we will fix them. Now, the process of performing the test that was performed by the security service company is known as the penetration testing. So what they have done is, they have performed the testing of my product for finding out the security vulnerabilities. So that's what we call the penetration testing. Now the question comes, how many types of penetration testing is there?
The answer is fairly simple. There are only three types of penetration testing exist. First one is the white box testing, second one is the black box testing, and third one is gray box testing. Now let me explain one by one. First one is the white box testing. This type of penetration testing, also known as clear box testing. In this penetration testing, the tester has the full knowledge and the access to both the source code and the software design architecture. Now the advantage of white box testing is that it can be accomplished in much quicker time frame when compared to the black box testing. It also has set of disadvantage since a tester has the complete knowledge of the product, so it could take more time to decide on what to focus. And the second disadvantage is to conduct this type of penetration testing, most sophisticated tools are required, such as software code analyzers and the debuggers, which are basically costly. Now the second type of penetration testing is the black box testing. In a real cyber attack, the hacker probably will not know all the ins and outs of the IT infrastructure. Because of this, he or she will launch the brute force attack against the IT infrastructure in the hopes of trying to find out the vulnerability and the weaknesses. In other words, in this type of penetration testing, there is no information given to the tester about the internal workings, source code, and the software architecture of a particular web application or the Android application. As a result, this type of test can take very long time to complete. Also, very often, the tester will rely upon the use of automated processes to completely uncover the behavior of the product. This type of testing, also known as trial and error approach. Now the third type of penetration testing is the gray box penetration testing. As the name implies, this type of penetration testing is the combination of the black box and the white box test. In other words, in this penetration testing, the tester has only the partial knowledge of the internal working of the web application and the Android application. Company usually chooses this type of penetration testing to restrict access to the software code and the system design architecture. In the gray box testing, both manual and the automated testing processes can be utilized. Because of this approach, a pen tester can focus their main efforts areas of the web application, which he or she knows the most about. With this particular method, there is more probability that you can find the hard to find bugs easily. Now these were the three main types of penetration testing. Now talking about the specific field of the penetration testing, they are the web application penetration testing, Android application testing. You can also pen test the desktop based application, network security testing, and not only that, nowadays IoT testing is also getting famous. So if you want to make career specifically in one of the penetration testing field, then you can do it, guys. The motive of this video was to introduce you with the types of penetration testing that we have in the pen testing fields. So thanks for watching this video, guys. In the next video, we will talk about the information gathering. Hello guys, welcome to the second video of second section. In this video, we will talk about the different phases of penetration testing, and then I will also explain the first phase of penetration testing, and that is information gathering. Now let me quickly explain all the phases of penetration testing. First phase is known as the information gathering. Say for example, if you are performing black box penetration testing for a company, then you have to keep the track of all the information about the target. And in this particular phase, we try to gather as much as information about a particular target. And the second phase is the scanning, which is also known as the vulnerability assessment phase. From the first phase, we know who the target is. Now in this phase, we will perform the scanning against that particular target, and we will try to gather the vulnerabilities exist in that particular system. If you are testing out the web application, then you might run the Vega scanner that is installed in the Kali Linux. And if you are testing out the desktop based application, then you might be using the metasploit auxiliaries. After making the list of all the vulnerabilities exist in a system, we try to exploit them, and that comes in the third phase, and the name of the third phase is the gaining access. Let's say if I have found 5 vulnerabilities in a system, Then I will try to make the exploit for them, and I will also see if a exploit exists for a particular vulnerability. That I can check on the exploit DB and the sites like that. In the gaining access phase, we gather the exploit information and we also actually try to exploit the system. Say for example, I was performing the penetration testing of an operating system. Somehow I led the victim to install the backdoor in that particular system. So that's how I can gain the access to that particular system. Now the fourth phase is the maintaining access phase. Say for example, I exploited a machine in the third phase, that is the gaining access phase. Now I need to maintain the access to that particular system. In the gaining access phase, I told you that I installed the backdoor in a system. So that's how I got the access to that machine. But now I want to maintain that particular access. So for that, I will try to install the persisted backdoor. Meaning whenever that operating system will boot, it will automatically give the reverse shell of the victim PC to my system. So I will install the persisted backdoor in that particular system and I will keep getting the reverse shell of the victim PC on my system. So that's how the maintaining access works. Now the last phase is known as the covering tracks. Covering tracks basically means that you are trying to hide your identity from the victim so that he could not trace you back. So for that we have to ensure that from the information gathering to the maintaining access phase, there should not be any proof left for the victim to trace us back. And that's what we call the covering tracks. Now let me talk about the information gathering in detail. As I've already told you that information gathering is the first phase of penetration testing. In this phase, we try to gather as much as information about the target. Generally, information gathering is divided into the two parts. First one is the passive information gathering and second one is the active information gathering. Now as the name suggested, passive information gathering is something in which we will not be directly dealing with the system. Say for example, if I want to hack the google.com, then I will not ping the google.com or anything like that. All I will do is I will try to gather the information about the google.com from the open sources. By the open sources I mean that I will go on the different websites and I will not try to ping the google.com so that google.com doesn't come to know my existence. Now in active information gathering, we will directly be dealing with the computer system. Say for example, if I want to hack the Google server and the IP address of Google server is 276.22.33.44, then I can ping that particular system. And not only that, I can also run the scanner against that particular system. In this case of penetration testing, whatever we will do, either we will ping that particular system or we run the scanner against that particular system. All these things will be logged at the Google server. So we have to ensure that if we are trying to gather the information about the google.com using the active information gathering, then we should have the proper permission to do it. Because you are directly dealing with the system and everything that you will do against the google.com will be logged on the google.com servers. And if you are doing all these things illegally, then the Google team can also take the proper actions against you. So whenever you try to perform the active information gathering against any server, then make sure that you have the proper permissions. So in this video we have talked about the process of penetration testing and then we have also talked about the information gathering in detail. So that was pretty much everything from the theory side. When we will go into the other sections, then we will explore the passive information gathering and the active information gathering. And we will also talk about the tools and the website that you can use for performing the active information gathering and the passive information gathering. Now in the next video, we will talk about the vulnerabilities. Hello guys, welcome to the third video of the second section. In this video, we will basically talk about the vulnerabilities. In this video, we will use the different setup. We will use the Kali Linux that is physically installed on the system. This is Kali Linux 2018.4, which is installed on my system. And on that Kali Linux, I have installed the VMware player. And on the VMware player, I'm running the vulnerable virtual machine. But now the question comes, why I have not used the traditional setup that we have done in the first section. And the reason is, When I tried to install the vulnerable virtual machine on the VMware that was installed on the Windows operating system, I was not able to ping that virtual machine using the Kali Linux. So to be able to ping the virtual machine and to test it from the Kali Linux, I'm using the Kali Linux that is physically installed on the system. Now let's say if you have a laptop and in that laptop you have installed the Windows operating system and you don't want to lose your Windows operating system, but still you want to install the Kali Linux physically over your system. So for that what you can do is you can dual boot your system with Windows and the Kali Linux. So if you don't know how to install the Kali Linux alongside with your Windows operating system, then you can watch the YouTube video given in the resources file that will help you to dual boot your laptop with Windows and Kali Linux. So from now on, whenever we will try to exploit the vulnerable virtual machine, then we will use this particular setup. Now let's come back to our video topic, and that is vulnerability assessment. Before we really go ahead, let me tell you the real definition of the vulnerability. In layman terms, vulnerability is known as the weakness existing in a particular system. A vulnerability can exist in any sort of application or the operating system. If the attacker knows that this particular vulnerability exists in this system, then he can even hack that particular system. In this video, I will demonstrate to you that how a vulnerability existing in a system can lead the attacker to hack that operating system. For the demonstration, I have installed the VMware workstation on my Linux PC, and I have also installed a basic vulnerable virtual machine. So let's see the approach, how we can proceed further. First of all, we will see the IP address of our Kali Linux. Here you can see the IP address of Kali Linux is 192.168.0.105. Now first of all, I will try to find out the IP address of the vulnerable machine that is running on the VMware. For that, I will make the use of command called netdiscover. I'm running it over all the interfaces. It means it will find all the IP addresses on all the interfaces that I have installed into my Kali Linux. By the interfaces, I mean that WLAN0, VMnet1, VMnet8, or maybe the ETS0. Now here you can see guys, we have one VMware IP address. I will try to scan this particular IP address. As mentioned in the previous video, we are going to opt the active scanning, and for performing the active scanning, I will make the use of nmap. -sv, where V stand for the version mapping, and then we need to specify the IP address, and then -v for the verbose operation. Hit enter. Now here you can see guys, we have scanned that particular vulnerable application and we have found so many ports open up here. Here you can see guys, we have 22 port open here and also the 80 port on which the Apache is running, and the version of the Apache is 1.3.20, and also we have the version of the SSH server that is running on the port 22. So we will try to find out all these things and let's see what works out for us. First of all, we will see that what is running on the Apache. For that, I will simply head over to that IP address, and that will open up the port 80. So here you can see guys, we have a default Apache page. I cannot enter any sort of input here, so we cannot grab this machine via the web application attack. Now what I will do is I will basically check the versions of all the services that are running on this machine over the exploit DB, and I will see if any one of this service is vulnerable to any sort of attack. First of all, we will see the OpenSSH 2.9 P2. We will head over to the google.com. I will simply type in here OpenSSH vulnerability. And here you can see guys, we have multiple vulnerability exist in this OpenSSH version. So we will look for the 2.9 P2. Let me quickly search. In the 2.9 version, we have execution code overflow. So we will try to see the exploit for this CVE. I tried to find out the working exploit for the OpenSSH 2.9 P2 version, but I was not able to get the working exploit. So I will move ahead with the Apache version and I will try to see if there is any vulnerability exist in this Apache version, then can we find out the exploit for this. So let's head over to the Mozilla Firefox and let me try to search the vulnerability and exploit for this. It looks like this Apache version is also vulnerable and its exploit is also available on the exploit DB. Now we know that Apache HTTP server is vulnerable to some sort of vulnerability. And we have also find out the exploit for this. And the name of the exploit is OpenLuck. Now my next step is to find out that particular exploit so that I can get it and try to exploit the first level of Cleopatrix machine. Now here is the exploit that I found for the Apache mode SSL. This is the same version as we have got in the nmap scanning. Here you can see. Now I will clone this version. Now I have a C file here. I need to compile this file. And here we have the instructions for compiling that file. And before compiling that file, you also have to install the libssl library into your Kali Linux. I've already did it. Hit enter. Now do the ls again. And here we have the compiled file. Now I'll simply run this. And as soon as I will run, it will give me the different operating system and the exploit code for all the operating system. In our case, our Apache version is Apache 1.3.20 and it is installed on the Red Hat Linux. Here you can see after performing this nmap scan, we have got the Red Hat Linux. Now it could be either this or this. We will use both of these code and see which one works. Copy this one. Now for running this file, we'll simply type in your openfuck and then we will simply paste that particular shell code and then I will enter the IP address of the remote machine and I will also mention the port. Port is 443, hit enter and it was not able to spawn any sort of shell. Now let's try to run the openfuck with the 0x6b shell code. Hit enter. And now it is trying to spawn the shell. Type in your ls. So I'll type in here who am I. I am as a root user. Now I'll try to change the password with the password command. I'll simply put in an easy password. Now my user was root and my password was bdeveloper. Now we'll try to log in into the machine and that is the vulnerable machine that we have already hacked into. Username is root and the password is, and here you can see guys, we have got the unauthorized access to the Cleopatrix level 1 vulnerable virtual machine. Now you can do the ls here. Not only that, you can also find out the IP address. This was the IP address that we were hunting. So that was quick tutorial guys to show you that how a vulnerability can let the attacker to hack into a particular system. So there was only one vulnerability existing in the system and that was of the Apache HTTP 1.3.20 version. We tried to look into the vulnerability and then we have found the exploit for this. We have exploited the machine with the ready-made exploit and that's how we have got the access to that machine. Again guys, this was just the basic machine, level 1 machine. So if you want to hack these virtual machines, then you can visit on VulnHub or maybe you can visit on Hack the Box. So that is pretty much everything for this section guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this section. In this section we have basically talked about the types of penetration testing and then we have talked about the information gathering and then in this video we have talked about the vulnerabilities. In the next section we will be talking about more ethical hacking. Hello guys, welcome to the first video of third section. In this particular section, we will basically talk about the system exploitation. Now, if you remember in the beginning, I told you that there are many types of penetration testing. Either you will be doing the penetration testing against the Android app or web application, or it may be a particular operating system itself. Now, talking about this section, we will basically explore the third type of penetration testing, and that is system exploitation. Now moving ahead, we will try to hack the Windows 8.1 and then we will also try to hack the vulnerable virtual machines. Now in this particular video, we are going to talk about the introduction to metasploit. Metasploit is one of the most powerful and widely used tool for penetration testing. In this tutorial, I will take you through the various concepts and the techniques of metasploit, and I will also explain you how you can use metasploit in real-time environment. In the very first section, we have set up and installed the Kali Linux into our VMware player. Now talking about the Metasploit is available in the two editions. First one is the community edition, which is completely free, and second one is the pro edition, which has many features as compared to the community edition, and it is also a paid service. So in this video, we will basically use the Metasploitable community edition that is pre-installed in the Kali Linux. Now if you want to use the Metasploit on your Windows PC, then you can download the Metasploit for Windows from their official website called rapid7.com. Now let me open up the terminal, and the name of my terminal is Terminator. If you don't have it, then you can download and install into your Kali Linux. The command to install this terminal is fairly simple. Simply use apt install Terminator and that will install the Terminator in your Kali Linux. Now let me increase the font size so that you can see it clearly. Now for opening up the Metasploit, we will simply type in your msfconsole. Now there is one more thing that I want to tell you guys, and that thing is Metasploitable is not only the exploiting tool, but it is also a tool where you can perform the information gathering. In Metasploit, you will be able to see the payloads, exploits, and the auxiliaries, where auxiliaries are the scripts that are created for performing the information gathering against a particular target. Now here you can see guys, if you will type in here help, then it will give you all the commands of the Metasploit. But before we really go into these commands, let me show you the architecture of Metasploit. I'll right click here and click on split horizontally. Simply head over to the user, share, and then Metasploit framework. Now here you can see guys, we have many files here. Now we will go into the modules. Now inside the module directory, we have many modules. First one is the encoder, second one is the knobs, third one is the payloads, fourth one is the post, fifth one is the auxiliary, and the sixth one is the exploit. Now here comes the most important thing. These auxiliaries are the scripts that are used for performing the information gathering, and we also use them to check if the target machine that we are trying to hack is vulnerable to some sort of vulnerability or maybe some sort of exploit. Now here we have the payload. A payload is the code that you are going to execute on the target operating system in order to get a reverse connection. So whenever you will be hacking out any operating system, then you will have to make the use of payload. Now talking about the post directory, this directory contains all the post exploitation tools. Say for example, if I have hacked into the Windows 8.1 with the non-administrator rights, and now I want to escalate the privileges to get the administrator rights. So with the help of the post exploitation tools, we can do it. Now talking about the encoders and the noobs, we will talk about these things in the upcoming minutes. Meanwhile, let me tell you about the exploit. Let's go inside the exploits directory. Now here you see guys, we have multiple exploits available. Here we have the exploit for the Android, exploit for the Linux, as well as the exploit for the Windows PC. Now here you can see guys, we have the directories of other operating system as well as the other platforms, of which we have the exploits available in the Metasploit. So let's go inside the Windows directory. Now talking about the famous exploit, we should have the exploit of the SMB. Here we have it. These are some of the zero-day exploits that are available for the Windows PC. All you have to do is to use these modules and we will be able to get the access to Windows 8 or maybe Windows 7. We will talk about all these things in the upcoming video. Meanwhile, let me come back to the metasploit. Now here you can see guys, we have used the help command, and by the help command you can see the commands and the functionality of them. Like here you can see the module commands. It will display the information about one or more modules. Search command is used to search for the module. Show command is used to display the parameters of exploit or maybe any sort of auxiliary. Now we'll talk about all these things in detail. Now as soon as you start the metasploit after a long time, then first thing that you have to remember is you have to update the metasploit framework to the latest version. For that you have to make the use of command called msfupdate. So hit enter. Now here you can see guys, msfupdate is no longer supported when metasploit is part of the operating system. Now this build is the part of the operating system. You can run the msfupdate for only those builds that are not the part of the operating system. So we have to manually update the metasploit framework. For that we have to type in here apt update. apt update will update the repositories and then we will install the metasploit framework from the updated repositories. Now let's say if you are performing the penetration testing against an operating system and you have find out that there is vulnerability exists in that particular operating system and it is 0 day. It means you will use that vulnerability and you will be able to get the access to the vulnerable operating system. Now you know the name of that vulnerability as well as the exploit. So now the question comes, how will you search that exploit in the metasploit? For that you have to make the use of command called search search. Now here we want to search for the exploit called ms08 and its type is basically the exploit. Let's hit enter. Now here you can see guys, we have got all the exploits that are related to the ms08. Now similarly, if you want to search for the auxiliary, then you can modify this command as search, name as smtp and type as auxiliary. Now here you can see guys, we have all these auxiliaries available for the smtp. You don't believe guys, but there are like 70,000 exploits available in the metasploit package. Similarly, if you want to search for the post exploitation tool, then how will you do it? All you need to do is to just type in your post, and now I want to search the post exploit for the Windows, and that's how you will be able to get the post exploit for the Windows. Now here you can see guys, if you have compromised a Windows PC, then you can even disconnect the Wi-Fi of that Windows PC. Not only that, there are multiple things that you can do. Here we have the webcam as well. It means if you will run this post exploit, then you can even open their webcam, take the pictures of the victim. So that is pretty much everything for the introduction to the metasploit. You will get to know more about the metasploit in the upcoming videos. And in the next video we will talk about generating the payloads. Hello guys, welcome to the second video of third section. In this video we will see how we can create a payload. And we will also try to hack the Windows 8.1 with that payload. Let me tell you about some basic terms that you should know about the metasploit. First one is the msf payload. This is the metasploit command that is used to generate the payload. A payload is the code that you are going to execute on the target operating system in order to get a reverse connection. Now third thing is the MSF encode. MSF encode is used to encode the generated payload from MSF payload in order to make the payload undetectable from the antiviruses. So what will happen is we will create the payload using the MSF payload and then we will encode that particular payload using the MSF encode command, so that our payload cannot be detected by the antivirus. Now here comes the fourth command, and fourth command is the MSF venom. Now this command is already the combination of the MSF payload and the MSF encode. So if you will use the MSF venom command, then you don't need to use the MSF payload and MSF encode separately, because MSF venom command will automatically create the encoded payload that will not be detected by the antivirus. And MSF venom became the part of metasploit on 8 June 2015. Now that was the theory for creating the payload. Now let's head over to the Kali Linux. As I've already told you that we are going to make the use of MSF venom, so let me run the MSF venom command and we will check the help command of it. Now here you can see guys, after running the help command we have got some sort of options. First one, -l. -l is used to define the list, and this will list all the modules for the payloads, encoders, knobs and the platforms that we have discussed in the previous video. And -p defines the payload. -f defines the format, like the file that we are going to create will be of the exe format or will it going to be the .sh format. Now here comes the -e, which is the encoder. Now here is the -a. -a is used to define the architecture of the platform. Let's say if I need to create the payload for the Windows 8.1 32-bit, then what I will do is I will keep the architecture as x86. And if I need to create the payload for 64-bit computer system, then I will keep the architecture as x64. Now here we have the example of MSF venom command. We will simply copy this. Now if you remember, we have already installed the Windows 8.1 in the very first section. Let me also turn it on. Now here we have the Windows 8.1. Let me quickly see the architecture of this Windows PC. Now here you can see guys, the architecture of this Windows operating system is 64-bit. So we have to create the payload for the 64-bit operating system. Now here we have the sample command. -p defines the payload, and the payload that we are going to use is for the 64-bit system. So we will have to make the use of 64-bit payload, and we will keep it like that. And -lhost actually demands for your IP address of your system where you want the reverse shell. So I want the reverse shell on my Kali Linux, and I will keep the IP address of my Kali Linux as well. Okay, -f defines the format, like the payload type will be exe, or will it be like .run or .sh file for the Linux compatibility. But since we are going to hack the Windows PC, so we'll keep it as exe. -o defines the name of the payload, so we'll simply keep it as GTA5exe, and we will store this payload on home directory. Now here we also need to define the L port. L port is the port on which we are going to get the reverse shell. So it will be 8080. Now let me tell you about the command from very beginning. This is the command name. -p is the payload, and that payload could be something else as well. Like if you are trying to hack the Mac operating system, then it could be Mac x64 metasploit reverse TCP. And here we have the lhost. Lhost defines the IP address of the system on which you are going to get the reverse shell. In this case, it will always be the IP address of the attacker. This is the IP address of my Kali Linux. L port will be the port on which you are going to get the reverse shell, and this is the port number of my Kali Linux. -f defines the format, like the exe or .sh. Since we are going to hack the Windows PC, so we will keep the format as exe. -o defines the name of the output file, and the output file name that we are going to create is gta5.exe. Now let's hit enter. Now here you can see guys, no platform was selected, choosing the MSF module platform Windows for the payload. No architecture selected, so they are selecting the default architecture here. Okay. Now the file has been created on my home directory. So in this video we have actually created a payload by which we are going to hack the Windows PC. Now in the next video I will tell you how you can share this payload to the victim PC, and I will also tell you how you can use this payload to hack into the Windows 8.1.
Hello guys, welcome to the third video of the third section. In this video we will try to get the reverse shell of the Windows PC on our Kali Linux. So if you remember, in the previous video we have created a payload called GTA-5.exe, and now we are going to use that payload for hacking into the Windows 8.1 64-bit.
Now the file has been created on my home directory. Now the question comes how we are going to send this file over the victim PC. Because as soon as the victim will run that file on his Windows PC, only then we will be able to get the connection. What I will do is I will start the Apache service on my Kali Linux, and I will keep that file into the Apache directory. I will go inside the directory called var www.html, and I will do the ls here. I will remove the default HTML files that I have here. Star.html. Now here we have the one and only file called gta5.exe. Now let me quickly open up my web server on the browser. Now here you can see, guys, we have gta5.exe file. Let me copy the link location. Now here you need to use your social engineering techniques to pass this particular file over the victim PC. Let's say I know the victim and I will tell him to download the gta5.exe from a particular link, and as soon as he will download the file and open up into his PC, I will be able to get the reverse connection. Now before sending the payload to the victim PC, I would like to handle the connection on my end. For that I will make the use of command called msfconsole. Let's hit enter. And we are going to get the reverse connection by using this exploit called exploit multi-handler. So with this command we are preparing ourselves for getting the reverse connection on our Kali Linux. Now after that we will use the payload called Windows metasploit reverse TCP. Now we will type in here a command called show options. What show options command does is it basically shows the parameters of the payload that are required. For the payload Windows metasploit reverse TCP, we require the two parameters. First one is the lhost and second one is the lport, where lhost is the listening IP address on which we are going to get the reverse connection, whereas lport is the port number on which you are going to get the reverse connection. And that lport should not be conflicting with the other services that are running on your system. Now we will type in here set lport 8080. Now the IP address is fine. Now we will again see the information by the show options, and here you can see, guys, lport has been set to 8080, whereas the lhost is the IP address of our Kali Linux, and this is the IP address that we have used in the payload generation as well. Now we can share the link to the victim. We'll copy this link. Now I'm trying to paste the link but I'm not able to do it, so I will manually enter this link in the browser window. Sorry for the small fonts in the Windows virtual machine, and I will click on save. And here you can see, guys, we have the download section and we have the file called GTA5. Now as soon as I will try to run this file on my Windows PC, I will get the reverse connection on my Kali Linux. Let me quickly run this. Now it is listening any sort of connection that is coming on port 8080. Now let's try to run this file. And here you can see, guys, we have session 1 opened. So that's how you can get the reverse shell of any Windows operating system on your Kali Linux. Now let me type in here help, and help command will show all the commands that you can perform over the Windows PC. Now there are many things that you can do on the victim PC. You can download the file from the victim PC, you can upload a file over the victim PC, you can even create your own directories, and if you want to remove a particular file from the victim PC, then you can also do it, guys. Now let's say if the victim PC does have the webcam in it, then you can even take the picture from it. We'll do all these things in the upcoming videos, but for the demonstration I will show you few commands, and that will basically give you the idea that how you can run these commands over the victim PC. Let me show you the demo of removing a particular file from the victim PC. Let's say I have hacked into the victim PC. Now I want to remove a particular file from his PC. Then I can also do it, guys. For the demonstration, we will create a file over the victim PC and then we will remove it. So here you can see, guys, I have created a file called deleteme.txt. Now I will do the pwd in the msfconsole. And here you can see, guys, here we have all the files that we have in the victim PC. Now I will simply make the use of command called rm, and I will type in here deleteme.txt, and its extension is also txt. Now let's hit enter. Now that file should have been removed. Let me check the Windows PC, and here you can see, guys, we don't have any deleteme.txt file in the downloads directory. So that's how you can remove a particular file from the victim PC. We will talk about all these commands in the upcoming videos. So that's how you can get the reverse shell of Windows PC on our Kali Linux. Now in the next video we will talk about payloads in more detail. Hello guys, welcome to the fourth video of third section. In this video we will basically try to make the payload undetectable. In the previous videos we have made a payload and we have also exploited the Windows 8.1 with that payload. But let me tell you guys, in the previous video we have disabled the Windows Defender of the Windows 8.1. That's why we were able to hack it. Now what we are going to do is we'll try to test this file on the VirusTotal, and we will see how many antiviruses are able to detect this as a malicious file. So we'll head over to the Mozilla Firefox and then we will type in here VirusTotal. I'll increase the font size of my browser. Now I will click on choose file. This is the file that we have created in the second video. Now we'll click on open. Here you can see, guys, out of 69 antiviruses, 42 antiviruses are able to detect this file as a Trojan. Now what we are going to do is we'll try to make an undetectable payload that should not be detected by the antiviruses and the Windows Defender as well. So for that we will make the use of msfvenom. Now we will use -a, which stands for the architecture, an architecture for which we are creating the payload is x64. And now we will make the use of payload, and payload is Windows metasploit reverse TCP. Now we will make the use of strong encoder that should not allow the antivirus to scan our file. Okay, let me split horizontally and let me see the list of all the encoders that are available. -list encoders. Here you can see, guys, the list of all the encoders, and the encoder that we are going to use is this Shikataganai, and this encoder is basically for the 32-bit Windows PC, but we can also encode the payloads of the 64-bit, so we can definitely make the use of this encoder. Okay, we'll simply copy the name of this encoder, and here you can see it works excellent, so I'll simply paste in here. And now I need to define the lhost, and lhost is the IP address of our Kali Linux. Lhost that we are going to use is 192.168.29.168, and the L port is going to be 8080. Now I will use the -i, which is for the iterator. We will encode this payload 3 times, and we will skip the null characters. For that we will make the use of this string. And the file that we are going to create is in the exe format, and the name of the file will be gta5encoded.exe. Now let me go through the commands once again. This is the command that we are using, msfvenom. -a stand for the architecture. We are creating the payload for the 64-bit system, so we'll use the x64. And here we have the -p. -p stand for the payload, and the payload that we are going to use is for the x64 system. So let me mention the x64 here. and -e stands for the encoder, and the encoder that we are using is the shikata-genai, and -lhost stands for the listening host. Listening host will be the attacker operating system, and in this case attacker operating system is our Kali Linux. -lport stands for the listener port. -i stand for the iterator, so we are encoding this particular payload 3 times from this encoder, okay? And -b stand for including the null values, okay? -f stand for the file format that we are going to generate, and we are going to generate the .exe file. So we'll type in your exe, and all this content will be written into a file called GTA5 encoded.exe. After that we will hit enter. And here you can see, guys, encoder shikata-genai has been iterated 3 times. And now let us check our file, and the file has been generated, and the size of the file is 7 KB. We have also created a payload in the second video, but the only difference between this payload and the one we have created in the second video is, in this payload we are using the shikata-genai encoder, but the payload that we have created in the second video, we have not used any sort of encoder. Now we are going to check how much this encoder will help us to evade the antivirus. Now let's try to scan this file on VirusTotal, and we will check how many antiviruses on VirusTotal will be able to detect this payload. The first payload that we have created was detected by the 42 antiviruses out of 69 antiviruses. Now let's check the result of new payload that we have created. We'll head over to VirusTotal again. We will select our file, open it. Now the scanning is in progress. Alright guys, so results are not expected. Here 41 antiviruses are able to detect this file as a malicious file. So we have to figure out something else by which we can create an undetectable payload. Now we will make the use of a tool called VEIL, but before we really go ahead, we have to install that tool into our Kali Linux. For installing that tool, you have to perform the apt update. apt update will update all the repositories of your Kali Linux. After that, you have to run apt install VEIL, VEIL. Now here you can see, guys, VEIL is already the part of my Kali Linux operating system because I have already installed it. So for running this tool, we will simply type in your VEIL. Are you wish to install VEIL? Let's press Y and hit enter. It took me around 15 minutes to complete the installation. Now our next step is to reboot our Kali Linux, because some of the dependencies of this tool does not work properly until we reboot our Kali Linux. So we have to reboot it. Now in the next video, I will tell you how you can use the VEIL evasion for creating the undetectable payload. Hello guys, welcome to the 5th video of 3rd section. In this video, we will generate the payload using VEIL, and we will also try to hack our Windows 8.1 using that payload. VEIL setup took me around 10 minutes to complete the installation. Now I will run the VEIL again. And there are 2 tools available. First one is the evasion, second one is the ordnance. We are interested in evasion, so we will simply type in here use. Now here we have 41 payloads loaded, and these are the commands. Now I will use the list command to list down all the modules. Here is the list of all the payloads that we have. For this video, we will make the use of this payload. So I'll simply copy the name of this payload, and then I will type in here use and the name of the payload. That will load my payload. Now I need to set the lhost. Lhost is the IP address of my Kali Linux on which I'm going to get the connection. So let me find out the IP address of my Kali Linux. Simply type in here ifconfig. Here is the IP address of my Kali Linux. I'll simply type in here set lhost. I'll paste the IP address here and hit enter. Here I also need to set the L port. By default it is 4444. But now I want to change this L port to 8080. Now type in your options. And here you can see guys, lhost has been set to the IP address of my Kali Linux and the L port is 8080. Now I will simply type in here generate. Name of the file that we are going to generate here is gta-veil, and we also don't need to specify the extension of the file. Now let's hit enter. Now here you can see guys, executable has been returned to this directory. The directory name is var-veil output compiled. Now we will copy this file to the home directory. File has been copied on the home directory. Now it's time to test it on VirusTotal. Head over to your Mozilla Firefox. Type in here virustotal.com. Click on choose file and then click on gta-veil.exe. And here you can see guys, 35 antiviruses are able to detect this file as a malicious file out of 70 antiviruses, which is better than previous 2 generated payloads. Now what we will do is, we will copy this file on a USB drive and then we will send this file to the Windows 8.1. Here I've connected my pen drive. Here is the file gta-veil.exe. I will copy this file into this pen drive. Now I will eject this USB drive. Now let me open up the Windows 8.1 which is installed onto our VMware player. Now here you can see guys, Windows 8.1 is open. Now I'll head over to player and now I will try to connect the Toshiba pen drive into my Windows 8.1. Let me quickly show you guys that Windows Defender is turned on. Now what I'm going to do is, I will simply copy the VEIL evasion file into my Windows PC. Now let me quickly turn on the handler on my Kali Linux. Let's open up the msfconsole. We'll use the exploit called multi-handler. Now we will use the payload called Windows x64 interpreter reverse TCP. Hit enter. Now I will again do the show options and now I need to specify the lhost. Lhost is going to be the IP address of my Kali Linux, and this IP address should be same as we have used in the payload making. I'll simply copy this IP address. Now I'm going to set the output that we have used in the payload making. Let's do the show options again. Let me close this window. And here you can see guys, everything is on place. Now I will simply enter run. This will listen the connection on this IP address and port number 8080. Now in the next video we will continue this video, and with that I will also tell you how you can hack the webcam and the Facebook account of victim by using this payload. Hello guys, welcome to the 6th video of 3rd section. In this video we will continue the previous one, and with that I will also tell you how you can see the stream of the victim webcam and how you can hack the victim's Facebook account password. Now let me head over to my Windows PC. Here you can see guys, Windows Defender is turned on and our Windows Defender is not able to detect this file as a malicious file. And here you can see guys, we have got the reverse connection onto our Kali Linux and Windows Defender is still turned on. Now we will try to do few things. First of all, we'll see the system information. This is Windows 8.1. Now I will simply type in your help. There are some privilege escalation command and also the password database commands. Like if you want to dump all the hashes and the password of the Windows system, then you can make the use of a command called hash dump. We can dump the password hashes of the Windows operating system. We can escalate the privileges to the local system. We can play an audio file on the Windows 8.1. So this is quite interesting. We can even do the webcam chat. We can list the webcams. Since this is a virtual machine, so we don't have any webcam here. We can see the webcam stream as well. Let me try to connect a USB module to the Windows 8.1 and let's see if we are able to see the stream of a USB webcam. I've connected a USB webcam to the Windows 8.1. Now let me try to run a command called webcam list. This will list all the webcams that the Windows 8.1 have. And here you can see, guys, we have one USB camera. Now we are going to make the use of webcam stream. Now this will play the video stream of the specified webcam. After that we will use 1 because 1 stands for the USB camera. Now let's hit enter. And here you can see, guys, this is the webcam stream of Windows 8.1. All the messy stuff is there. So here basically you are watching the webcam stream of the victim PC, and victim PC is Windows 8.1. Let's say if you have hacked into the victim PC and you want to capture out some keylogs, like whenever the victim will try to log in into his Facebook account, we want to capture his username and the password. So for that, what we can do is we can run the key scan start. Now let's hit enter. Now it is sniffing the keystroke on the Windows 8.1. Let's try to type in something on the Windows 8.1 and let's see if we are able to get them. First we will go to the Internet Explorer and then we will type in your facebook.com. And now I want to log in into my Facebook account. I'll click on login. Now let me quickly see all the keystrokes that we have pressed on Windows 8.1. For that we will type in your keyscan_dump. Hit enter. And here you can see, guys, we have dumped all the keys. First of all, we have went into the facebook.com. Then we enter the username as parvinder.yadav. And I have used the dummy password named as abcd1234. So that's how you can have the complete access to the remote machine. Now let me quickly also show you some cool commands. You can even shut down the Windows 8.1 if you want. You can reboot it, you can kill some processes, you can execute a file, you can upload a file, remove a file, move a file, and you can even download the file from the remote system. So these are all the commands that you can perform on the remote system. All in all, if you are able to run the payload somehow on the victim PC, then that system will be completely yours. You can do whatever you want to. So this was the complete video about the VEIL evasion. In this video we have created a VEIL payload and we are successfully able to bypass the Windows Defender security. So that's how you can hack into the Windows 8.1. There are a lot many things that you can do to make payload more authentic and undetectable. You can bind a malicious payload into a PDF file, and not only that, you can even bind a payload with an executable file. For example, with the TeamViewer or Internet Download Manager. So as soon as victim will open up the PDF file, a Meterpreter session will be opened up in your Kali Linux. Now you might be thinking that why we will only bind a payload with the TeamViewer or Internet Download Manager. And the reason is very simple. As you guys know that Internet Download Manager and the TeamViewer run on startup. So every time when the Windows will boot, it will run the TeamViewer or IDM automatically. And as long as any one of the application will be initiated, we will get the Meterpreter session onto our Kali Linux. So embedding a payload in IDM and TeamViewer will work as a persisted payload, which will keep giving us the access to the victim PC until victim do not uninstall these payload embedded applications manually. And that's all for the system exploitation section. If you want to explore the system exploitation, then what I will do is, I will leave the link to some of the good articles in the resources file. I hope they will help you. So thanks for watching this video guys. I will see you in the next section. Hello guys, welcome to the first video of 4th section. In this video we will talk about the basics of web penetration testing. And then we will further move on to the advanced topics in the later videos. Now let me tell you the things that we are going to talk about in this video. First of all, I will tell you what is proxy, and then we will talk about how we can set it up into a browser. After setting up the proxy, we will see what is request and response and how you can intercept the request. Not only that, you will also get to know about an awesome tool called burpsuite, and burpsuite is a proxy software that allows you to do many things. You can intercept a request using the burpsuite, you can modify that request and send it to the server, and not only that, it also provides some advanced features like performing the brute force attack against a web application. Not only that, you can capture all the URLs that you are visiting on a particular website, and that is known as the spidering. You can even repeat a particular request by doing the hit and trial, and so on and so forth. Now let me tell you what is proxy. A proxy works like an intermediary body. So let's say if I have enabled the proxy into my browser, then all the requests that are going from my browser to a web server will go through the proxy server. Say for example, if I am searching google.com into my browser, then first of all my browser will make a request, and that request will be intercepted by my proxy server. And then when I will forward that request from the proxy server to the Google web server, only then that request will go to the Google web server. Now talking about the response, whenever we are sending a particular request to a web server, then that web server will also send us the response of that request. And that response will first come to our proxy software, and then it will come back to our browser window. Now let me tell you the types of proxy server. There are two types of proxy exist. First one is the hardware proxy, and second one is the software proxy. A hardware proxy is another device residing in a network, and all the traffic will go through that hardware proxy. Say for example, if I am making the request google.com, then that request will go to that hardware device. And not only that, the response of google.com will also first come to that hardware device. Now second one is the software proxy. A software proxy is a software that is residing on the same system. All the requests of a browser will go only through that proxy software. Say for example, if I have enabled the browser proxy and I am trying to search youtube.com into my browser, then first of all that request will go to that proxy software residing on my same system from which I am making the request. And whenever I will forward that request from my proxy software to the youtube.com, only then that request will go to the youtube.com. And when the youtube.com server will send us the response, then that response will first come to our proxy software. And whenever we will forward that response, only then that response will reach to the web browser. So that's how a proxy software works. And these were the two types of proxy software. In this video, we are going to make the use of software proxy, and the name of the software that we are using is the burpsuite. Now we know that what is proxy and how many types of proxy exist. First of all, we will little bit talk about the burpsuite software, and then we will head over and set up the proxy into a web browser. Now the question comes, what is the usage of burpsuite apart from being a proxy software? So in layman terms, I can say that it basically helps you to understand all the HTTP and HTTPS requests that you are making to a web server. Now before we really go ahead and set up the burpsuite with a web browser, let me tell you about the versions of burpsuite. There are basically three types of versions of burpsuite exist. Here you can see guys, I'm on the official website of burpsuite, and the name of that website is portswigger.net. And here you can also see the burpsuite editions.
First one is the Community Edition, which only comes with the essential manual tools and it is available for free of cost. Second one is the Professional Edition, and cost of this Professional Edition is $399 per year. It also comes with some extra tools like advanced manual tools as well as web vulnerability scanner. Now talking about the Enterprise tool, it comes with the 4 extra features that are not available in the Professional and the Community Edition. It comes with the CI integration, unlimited scalability. It means you can scale this particular setup for 10 members, 20 members, etc. Now we know about the versions of burpsuite. The version that we are going to use is the Community Edition, and this version is pre-installed into our Kali Linux 2018.4. And not only that, you can also download this version for your Windows PC. So now you know that what is proxy and how many types of proxy is there. I've also talked about the burpsuite tool and different versions of it. Now in the next video we will configure the browser proxy to integrate it with burpsuite. Hello guys, welcome to the second video of 4th section. In this video we will set up the proxy configuration into a browser so that we can integrate the configuration of burpsuite into our browser. So here you can see guys, we have Mozilla Firefox. Now we will simply click on these 3 lines, and now I will click on Preferences, scroll down to the bottom, and here you can see guys, we have Network Proxy Configuration. Simply click on Settings. Now by default no proxy is enabled. Since we need to use the burpsuite, so we will enable the manual proxy configuration, and the HTTP proxy will be 127.0.1 and the port number will be 8080, and we will check mark this button. Now we will simply click on OK. Now let me open up my burpsuite software. Here we have the burpsuite Community Edition, which is the free edition. Let's click on Next. Click on Start burpsuite. Now let me search in something. Now whenever I will make any request into my browser, that request will be forwarded to my burpsuite. And here you can see guys, my intercept is turned on, and that's why I have got this request into my browser. Let me forward this request. Now after doing this configuration, our burpsuite is integrated with our browser. Now our next step is to enable the integration of HTTPS request that we are going to make using our browser. So for enabling the HTTPS request, we will simply type in here HTTP BURP, hit enter. Now simply click on the CS certificate and click on save file. Now this will download a file into downloads directory. And here you can see guys, we have csr.der file. Now we need to import this file into our browser, and we need to tell our browser that whenever we are going to make any HTTPS request, then that request will go through the burpsuite. Okay, so let me open up my browser. Again I will go into the preferences. Now click on Privacy and Security, scroll down to the bottom, and then click on View Certificates. Now head over to the authorities and click on Import. Now simply import this csr.der file. If you are not able to see this file, then you can change the file type as well. Okay, now click on Open. As you can see guys, this certificate is already installed as a certificate authority. Since I have already installed this certificate into my browser, that's why it is showing me this pop-up. But if you are installing this for the first time, then it will ask you to check 2 checkbox. So just don't forget to check those items and then click on OK. And right after that you need to again click on OK. So that's how you can configure all the HTTPS requests that will be going through your burpsuite. Now here you can see guys, by default intercept is turned off. Now let me try to make a request. And here you can see guys, we are not able to search on google.com even if proxy interception is off. It means there is something wrong with the configuration. Let me check it out. Alright guys, so after searching about this issue, I came to know that by default Java 11 is enabled in the Kali Linux.
So we have to downgrade the version of Java so that we can use burpsuite properly into our Kali Linux. For downgrading the version, we will simply type in here sudo update alternatives --config space Java. Hit enter. Now here you can see guys, these are all the versions that are currently installed into our Kali Linux, and the version that we are going to use is number 3. So let's hit number 3 and hit enter. Now we have set the configuration to Java 8, and I hope this time we will be able to browse properly. Let me close the browser. Let me open it up again and let's search google.com. And here you can see guys, google.com is working perfectly fine. Now if I want to intercept this particular request, then what I will do is I will head over to my burpsuite and then I will click on intercept is off. That will enable the interception. Now whenever I will try to make any request to any server, that request will first come to our burpsuite. And here you can see guys, we tried to make a request on kali.org and that request has just came into our burpsuite tool. These are all the user agents that are going from our browser to the server. Now if you want to forward this request, then click on forward. Now the response will automatically reach to our browser. And here you can see guys, we are able to open up the kali.org. These are all the raw parameters that are going through the request. These are the parameters that are going in the request. These are the headers that are going in the request. Like user agent, host is this, request type, referrer. If you will turn off the intercept, then there will be no interception take place and our request will directly go to the server. That's how it works. Now in the next video, we will talk about the repeater and intruder in more detail. Hello guys, welcome to the third video of fourth section. In the previous video, we have talked about how we can set up the proxy configuration into a browser. Now in this video, we are going to explore the burpsuite tool. Here you can see the interface of the burpsuite tool. Target contains all the URLs that are being hit by your browser, and proxy contains the details. Like if you want to intercept the traffic, then you can turn on the interceptor. If you want to turn off the interceptor, then you can even do it. If you want to forward a particular request, then you can do it by using the button called forward. If you want to drop a particular request, then you can drop it by using this drop button. Here we have another tabs like spider. If you want to spider on a particular web application, then you can do it with the help of this particular tab. And if you want to scan a particular site for some particular vulnerabilities that are inbuilt into our burpsuite, you can do it with the help of scanner. But by default, scanner is not the part of community edition. You have to buy a professional or enterprise edition to be able to scan a particular web application. Here we have the intruder. Intruder is basically used to perform the brute force against a particular web application. Repeater is used to repeat a particular request. Let's say if you want to repeat a particular request with the different parameters, then you can do it with the help of repeater. Then we have another tabs like sequencer, decoder, comparer, extender, project options, user options, alerts, and so on and so forth. If you want to explore the burpsuite tool in detail, then I will definitely leave some links in the resources file so that you can click on those links and get more information about the burpsuite. For this particular video, we are mainly going to use the intruder and the repeater. Say for example, if I want to crack the password of a particular Wi-Fi router that does not have any limit or restriction for performing the brute force attack on it, so we can do it with the help of intruder. Now you guys know that we are going to perform the brute force attack onto a router login page. So let me browse my router login page here. As you can see here, my router IP address is 192.168.0.1 and I have just browsed over my router login page. Now let me quickly show you the proxy configuration as well. Head over to the preferences, Scroll down to the bottom until you see the network proxy. Just click on settings, and here you can see guys, manual proxy configuration is enabled. It means whatever we are going to type in here into a browser, or whatever request that we will make into a browser, will first go on to the burpsuite if we will turn on the interceptor. So if you see here, the interceptor is turned off. Let me just turn it on. Now let's say I don't know the password of this router login page and I'm trying some random password. That request will go to the burpsuite, and here you can see guys, a raw request has been sent to the burpsuite. Now what I will do is I will right click on it and I will click on send to intruder. Now we will head over to the intruder tab, click on positions. Now we will clear all the positions that are here. Language is a variable, username is a variable, check en is a variable, as well as password is a variable. So what I entered into the password box was admin, which is not the true password. So I will simply click on clear. That will clear all the variables. Now I will remove this check en. Now we know that username will always be admin since it is hard coded in the default username list. But the thing that we are not sure about is the password. So I will just double click on admin and click on add. Since we are going to perform the brute force on this particular password. Now I will head over to payloads. Now I will click on load. Now I will head over to the directory called user share wordlist, and under the wordlist we have a default password wordlist named as fasttrack.txt. So I'll simply click on open. Now I will perform the brute force attack by trying all these default password within the router login page. Now what I'm going to do is I will simply click on start attack. And here you can see guys, the community edition of burpsuite contains a demo version of burp intruder. Some functionality is disabled and our attack are time throttled. So simply click on OK. Now this will start the attack. And here you can see guys, this password list is having 222 passwords in it. And it is checking very slowly. Last year I was having the burpsuite professional edition. And brute forcing power of that professional edition was so quick. It was able to check all these passwords within a minute. Now if you click on any password, here you will see the request that is being sent to the Wi-Fi router. We are sending the username as admin and password is spring 2016. And we have also got the response to this request. And the response is 302 redirect. Now we are going to keep an eye on the two things. First one is the status and second one is the length. So if anything changes here, it means that is the correct password for a router login page. If you see here, status is coming 302 in all the requests. Now talking about the length is also 388 in all the cases. Let it finish, then we will talk about it. And here you can see guys, length for this request is 226. Meaning there is some variation in the response with the payload called password123. So let me quickly try to test this password over the router login page. Simply enter this password PASSWORD123, hit enter. Now this request will again go to the burpsuite, so we have to stop this attack. And then we will go to the proxy and turn off the interceptor. And here you can see guys, we are successfully able to crack the password of router login page. So that's how you can perform the brute force attack using the intruder tool. Now you guys know that what is intruder and how intruder works. Now moving forward, I'm going to talk about the repeater. Here you can see guys, right now the interceptor is off. Let me try to make a request to google.com and this request is working perfectly fine. Now let me try to make a request on kali.org. Let me turn on the interceptor. Now let me go on the download section. Now that request will reach to my burpsuite. Now right click on it and click on send to repeater. Now this request has been sent to the repeater. Right now we are actually looking for the downloads directory and here you can also see the get API call. Now let's say if you want to head over to some other directory or you want to perform some hit and trial method, then you can repeat a particular request with the help of repeater. Let's say if I want to go on OSCP, let's see if this is a valid page on khali.org or not. Click on go. I tried to make a request and here you can see guys 404 not found. Now this time I want to search for pwkl and click on go. And here you can see guys, this directory is also not found on the server. So that's how you can actually repeat a particular request again and again by doing the hit and trial. Now the question comes where repeater is more important. Now let's say if you have set of payloads like 4 to 5 payloads and you want to repeat the same request with the different payloads, then you can bring that request over the repeater and then you can import the payload again and again. So that's how the repeater works. So in this video we have actually talked about how we can perform the brute force attack using the burpsuite tool, and we have also talked about how we can make the use of repeater. In the next video I am going to tell you that how you can exploit the vulnerability named as RCE, which is remote code execution. Hello guys, welcome to the fourth video of fourth section. In this video we are going to talk about the vulnerability called remote code execution. So this is basically the server side vulnerability, which is also known as 0-day vulnerability. It means if that vulnerability is found in your product or the web application, then your web application can be hacked 100%. Okay, so let me explain what this vulnerability is. Let's say if you are able to execute a code remotely on the web application, then this is called the remote execution vulnerability. It could be a Python code, it could be a shell script, it could be any sort of code, or even a Linux command as well. Now you know that if you are able to execute a code remotely on a web application, that means that web application is vulnerable to the remote code execution. If you guys remember, then in the very first section we have installed the metasploitable 2 into our VMware player. Now we are going to start the metasploitable 2 and then we will try to exploit it. Here you can see guys, metasploitable 2 is turned on. Now let me search the IP address of my metasploitable 2. For searching the IP address of metasploitable 2, I will make the use of command called netdiscover and I will run that command on ETS0. Hit enter, and here you can see guys, we have all these IP addresses. Now let me quickly perform a nmap scan on this IP address. -O stands for the operating system enumeration. I will also specify the -v, which it stands for the verbose operation. Now I will hit enter. Now here you can see guys, all these ports are open on metasploitable 2 and that's why it is too much vulnerable right now. So what I'm going to do is I will simply search the IP address of my metasploitable 2 into my browser. IP address is 192.168.29.130. Now I will click on DBWA. The default username is admin and the password is password where P is small. Now these are all the vulnerabilities that you can practice on DBWA. Now if you see here, username is admin and the security level is high. Now I will click on DBWA security and I will set the security level to low and click on submit. Now my DBWA security level has been set to low. Now I will click on command execution. Now say for example, this is a web application on which we are performing the penetration testing and the security of this web application is low. If you type in here any IP address, then it will ping out that IP address for you. Now you guys know that this web application performed the ping. So let me enter my router IP address and click on submit. And here you can see guys, our web application is able to ping the router IP address. Now let's say if this command is running, then can we apply the semicolon and run ls? Because as you know that in Linux you can run two different commands by separation of semicolon. Now right after that click on submit. This is the output of the ping command and this is the output of the ls command. It means This web application is vulnerable to remote code execution. Now instead of this ls command, I can also run the remove command, and remove command will remove everything that is residing on that particular directory as well as on that particular server. So that's how you can find out the remote code execution vulnerability in an application. The security level of this web application is basic, that's why we were able to find it so easily. But I intentionally set the security level to be at basic so that you can have a good idea how you can find out the remote code execution in a web application. If you want to know more about the remote code execution and other zero-day vulnerabilities, then I will leave the link to some of the good articles in the resources file. Don't forget to check it out. So that's it for the video. In the next video, we will be exploiting a live virtual machine. Hello guys, welcome to the fifth video of fourth section. In this video we will try to exploit a level 2 live virtual machine. Now let us first download that virtual machine. Here we have the link of vulnhub.com. I will leave this link in the resources file. Just click on download. Now here we have two links. First one is the Qupatrix level 2 original and second one is Qupatrix level 2 update. So we would like to download this update file. Let me click on this link. Click on start download. Now it will take some time to download this file. As you can see guys, Qupatrix level 2 has been downloaded into our operating system. Remember, we need to set up this virtual machine onto our VMware, and that VMware should be installed on the host operating system, meaning you need to use the setup that we have talked about in the third video of second section. Here is the Kali Linux 2018.4 that is physically installed onto our CPU, and on that Kali Linux I have installed the VMware Workstation 15. Now here you can see guys, Qupatrix level 2 has been installed and now it is asking us for the username. Now we can try to hack this operating system. Now our first step is to perform the network scan. And here you can see guys, we have got the list of all the IP addresses that are into our network. And here we have a VMware machine. So that will probably be our Qupatrix level 2 machine. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to perform the nmap scan against this IP address. -O stands for the operating system enumeration. -S stands for the stealth scan. Now we need to specify the IP address of our Qupatrix level 2 and it is 192.168.0.107. Now use -V and hit enter. Now these are all the ports that are open on our Qupatrix level 2 machine. Since port 80 and 443 are open, so it will definitely be a web server. So let me try to browse this IP address into my Mozilla Firefox. And here you can see guys, this is actually a web server which is basically asking for the username and the password. Now what we will do here is, we will try some random password, maybe some default password. Let's keep the username as admin and password is password. Hit enter, it's not working. Now password is also admin, which is not working. Now what we have to do here is, we need to somehow bypass this login functionality. So for bypassing these sort of portal, we have to find out the SQL injection in this. Now we are going to make the use of a basic payload that will actually bypass this login screen. And the name of that payload is vanilla payload. This payload is basically used in the basic SQL injection techniques. So I'll simply copy this payload and paste in here. Now I'll keep the password as blank and try to click on login. And here you can see guys, we are successfully able to bypass that login mechanism. It means this web application is vulnerable to the SQL injection. Now when we have used that payload, then what might have happened in the background is, suppose that web application was running that query, select a star from users, where username is this and password is this. We have used the username this and keep the password as blank. Now our query will be select star from users, where username is, this whole part will be replaced by admin or 11. So now that admin or 111 was replaced by username.
So instead of using the AND operator, we are using the OR operator, and we are telling our application that username is admin and there is no more variable available to be checked. And we are also keeping 1 is equals to 1. And after that we are using hash. It means all this ask for the password will be ignored. So that's how the web application got bypassed. I will leave the link of the SQL injection payloads in the resources file. Don't forget to check it out. It will be a good exercise for you. Now here is the web application that is actually asking us to ping a particular network. So if we will type in here the IP address of a router login page, now after clicking on submit, it will actually ping the router login page, and it will also send the response in the next browser window. So here is the ping response. Now we know that this application is using the internal commands to ping 192.168.0.1. So we will try to separate this command with the semicolon, and then we will try to use ls and see if this web application is vulnerable to remote command execution or not. So let's click on submit. Now if you see here, first command was ping, that is actually giving the ping output, and second command was ls, and that is actually giving all the files that are available in that directory. Now we are 100% sure that this web application is vulnerable to remote command execution. So now what we are going to do here is we will make the use of a payload, and that will actually give us the reverse shell of this web application onto our Kali Linux. The payload that we are going to use for getting the reverse connection is this. Simply copy it, and here you can see guys, this is the IP address of our Kali Linux on which we are going to get the reverse shell, and the port number is 443. So just copy this command, and now we are going to paste this command here. Before clicking on submit, we need to handle this connection onto our Kali Linux. So whenever a connection request will come back from our Kiopatrix level 2 machine to our Kali Linux, then we should be able to handle it from our Kali Linux. So that's why we are going to run a netcat handler into our Kali Linux, and we are going to listen on 443, hit enter. Now any connection that will come to our Kali Linux on port number 443 will be handled here. Now let's click on submit. Now let's go back to our terminal, and here you can see guys, we have got the connection from 192.168.0.107. Now let's try to do ls here, and here you can see guys, these are the two files that are available in that Kiopatrix level 2 machine. Now we will try to get the exact version of this operating system, and we will check on exploit.db if there is any 0-day exploit available for this operating system. We will use this command, and here you can see guys, the operating system is CentOS and release version is 4.5. Now we will check on exploit.db if there is any exploit available for this. Simply click on very first link. Now we will try to download this exploit onto our host operating system, and then from our host operating system we will take this exploit on the Kiopatrix level 2 machine. Here you can see guys, exploit is in the downloads directory. Let me split this terminal horizontally. Let's go inside the downloads directory. Now we will copy the 9542.c into a directory called var www.html. Now let's head over to var www.html. Now here we have a file called 9542.c. Now let's start the Apache 2 service onto our Kali Linux. That will create the web server onto our Kali Linux. And here you can see guys, 9542.c file is available. Let me right click on it and click on copy link location. Now we will head over to our terminator. Currently we are in var www.html directory on Kiopatrix level 2 machine. So we will have to switch to other directory. Randomly hit for some directories. And here you can see guys, temp directory exists here. And right now we are in the temp directory. So we will make the use of a command called wget. Now we will simply paste the location of 9542.c file that is available on Kali Linux, hit enter. And here you can see guys, 9542.c file has been downloaded into our Kiopatrix level 2 machine. Now our next step is to compile this C file, hit enter. Now let's do ls again. And here you can see guys, there is a new file created called a.out. Now before running this exploit, let me run the who am I. And right now I am an Apache user. Now let's try to run this file, hit enter. Now let's do again who am I. And here you can see guys, we have got the authority of the root user. Now we can change the password of this machine and get the permanent access to this Geopatrix level 2 machine. Let me quickly run the password command. Hit enter. Repeat the same password, hit enter. Now the password has been changed for the Geopatrix level 2 machine. Now we will try to log in as a root user onto our Geopatrix machine. Now here we have the Geopatrix login. The username is root and the password is bdeveloper @#123, hit enter. And here you can see guys, we are successfully able to log in into Geopatrix level 2 machine. So that's how we can perform the penetration testing against a virtual machine. If you want to practice out all such machines, then I will leave the link to some of the good machines in the resources file. Actually, practicing these machines will help you to boost your confidence. So that was everything for this particular video. If you want to explore website penetration testing in detail, then I will leave the link to some of the best resources I have in the resources file. Don't forget to check the resources file of this particular video. So that's it for this particular section. I will see you in the next section. Hello guys, welcome to the first video of 5th section. In this section we will basically talk about the network penetration testing, and we will be basically more focusing on the Wi-Fi security. We will also talk about the different Wi-Fi security standards. As you guys know that whenever we start up with the new section, we actually set up the lab environment. And the lab environment that we are going to use for this particular section is going to be fairly simple. Here we are going to make the use of Kali Linux 2018.4 that we have installed in the very first section. And second one is the USB Wi-Fi adapter that supports the monitor mode and packet injection. And the name of the USB Wi-Fi adapter that we are going to use is TP-Link WN722N. This is a single band USB Wi-Fi adapter which can only operate on 2.4 GHz frequency. So we will be able to perform the penetration testing on all the devices that are operating on 2.4 GHz frequency. This device is no longer in production, so you will not be able to buy this device. Instead of this, TP-Link is selling the version 3, which is having the different Wi-Fi chipset and doesn't support the monitor mode and packet injection. So you will have to buy some other USB Wi-Fi adapter. I will leave the link of some suggested USB Wi-Fi adapter that supports the monitor mode and packet injection in the resources file. There are mainly two types of modes exist in a USB Wi-Fi adapter. First one is the managed mode and second one is the monitor mode. Managed mode is also known as the simple mode, on which every USB Wi-Fi adapter operates. Since every USB Wi-Fi adapter is capable of receiving the signal and it can also connect to a particular Wi-Fi. Apart from that, there is another special mode and that is known as the monitor mode. Monitor mode is also known as the special mode, which is not found in all the USB Wi-Fi adapter. And to be able to perform the attacks against any Wi-Fi router, you have to buy a USB Wi-Fi adapter that should support the monitor mode. Now the question comes, what is the functionality of the monitor mode? It basically captures all the packets that are roaming into the air. And it can also perform the packet injection. It means if I want to inject some packets into a router, then I can also do it with the help of monitor mode. So these were the two properties of the monitor mode. Here you can see guys, TP-Link WN722N is connected to my host operating system. Now what I will do is I will try to connect this USB Wi-Fi adapter directly to my Kali Linux 2018.4. For that I will head over to my Kali Linux. And here you can see guys, on the top left corner we have a button called player. Just click on it. And here you can see guys, we have a chipset named as Etherwise USB 2.0 WLAN. Now we will hover over this and simply click on connect. Now this will disconnect the TP-Link WN722N from the host operating system and it will be directly connected to the VMware. Now I will simply type in iwconfig, and here you can see guys, I have three interfaces.
First one is the ETS0, second one is the loopback interface, and third one is the WLAN 0. And here you can see guys, right now the mode is managed and its transmission power is 20 dBm. Now what we will try to do is we will try to turn on the monitor mode on this USB Wi-Fi adapter. For that we will make the use of command called AIRCRACK-NG start WLAN 0. So it will enable the monitor mode on WLAN 0 interface. Now we will hit enter. And here you can see guys, monitor mode has been enabled. Now I will simply do the iwconfig again. And my WLAN 0 card has been vanished and it has been converted into WLAN 0 mon. And its mode is also monitor. The transmission power is still same, 20 dBm. And frequency on which the monitor mode enabled is 2.4 GHz. So this was the very first video in which I told you how you can set up the lab environment for performing the wireless penetration testing. And not only that, I have also told you that how you can enable the monitor mode on a USB Wi-Fi adapter. If you want to buy this USB Wi-Fi adapter or maybe better than this USB Wi-Fi adapter, then the purchase links are given in the resources file. Don't forget to check it out. Thanks for watching this video guys. In the next video I will tell you how you can capture the data packets of all the routers around you. Hello guys, welcome to the second video of 5th section. In this video I will tell you how you can sniff the data packets of a particular router. In the previous video I have told you that how you can set up the lab environment for performing the wireless penetration testing. And I've also told you how you can enable the monitor mode. So we have already enabled the monitor mode on WLAN 0 interface. So from now on we will start off with the second video. Now I will tell you how you can perform your very first scan to analyze all the Wi-Fi routers around you. With this scan you will also be able to see all the clients connected to those Wi-Fi routers around you. So we will simply type in here airdump ng with WLAN 0 mon. This is the new interface that we are going to use whenever we will need the support of monitor mode. So let's hit enter. Let it run for 20 seconds and then I will explain all this to you. Let's press Ctrl C together to stop this. Now here you can see guys, first one is the BSS ID, which is basically the MAC address of all the routers around you. And here is the power. Least power defines that this router is near to your USB Wi-Fi adapter, meaning this router is near to my USB Wi-Fi adapter and this router is far from my USB Wi-Fi adapter, because the power of this router is -82 and the power of this router is -26. Data stands for the network traffic. People are using more internet connection on this Wi-Fi router, since the data value of this Wi-Fi router is more than any other. CH stands for the channel on which a Wi-Fi router is operating. For now this Wi-Fi router is operating on 6th channel. And this Wi-Fi router is operating on channel number 11. That's how you can figure out the channel of a Wi-Fi router. Here you can see guys, ENC stands for the encryption and these are the different encryption standard: WPA, WPA2 with WPA CCMP and all these things. ESSID is basically known as the name of the Wi-Fi router. So here is the name of the Wi-Fi router and its corresponding MAC address is this. And here we have another name of the Wi-Fi router whose corresponding MAC address is this. Now there is one more important thing that I want to highlight here is BSSID is basically known as the name of the Wi-Fi router. So if I search here, there is a BSSID C83A35268B40. We will look this BSSID here. This one. Name of this Wi-Fi router is FMall. and the client connected to this Wi-Fi router is this. So stations are basically the clients connected to a particular Wi-Fi router. So if I want to check how many clients are connected to the Mora Wi-Fi routers, then I will check the list of all the stations that are connected to the C83A. For example, here we have a VSS ID 7811, which means here we have the Puneet Wi-Fi router to which we have two clients connected to it, and the MAC address of those clients are here. So that's how you can figure out how many clients are connected to a particular Wi-Fi router without even connecting to a particular Wi-Fi router. Now if you want to capture the data related to a particular Wi-Fi router, then you can also do it. Let's say I want to capture the data of this particular Wi-Fi router and I want to check how many clients are really connected to this Wi-Fi router. For that, what I will do is I will simply type in here AIRCRACK-NG, and then I will specify the BSS ID, and BSS ID is going to be the MAC address. Here I will specify the channel name, and the channel number is 1. And now I will specify the name of the monitor mode interface, and the name of the monitor mode interface is WLAN0 mon. Hit enter. Here you can see guys, Puneet Wi-Fi router only have one client connected to it, and the MAC address of that client is this. And this client is basically using a lot of data on this Wi-Fi router since the data packets are continuously increasing. The encryption of this Wi-Fi router is WPA2. It is not very far from us since the power is only around -50. So this was the video in which we talked about how we can sniff the data packets of a particular router and how we can find out all the clients connected to a particular Wi-Fi router. Now in the next video I will tell you how you can deauthenticate all the clients connected to a particular Wi-Fi router without even connecting to that particular Wi-Fi router. Thanks for watching this video guys. I will see you in the next one. Hello guys, welcome to the third video of 5th section. In this video I will tell you how you can make the Wi-Fi jammer, or how you can basically disconnect a client connected to a particular Wi-Fi router. So for that we will start off by enabling the monitor mode on WLAN0. Right now my USB Wi-Fi adapter is basically connected to the VMware. Now I will simply type in here iwconfig to check the list of all the interfaces that I have into my VMware. Here you can see guys, WLAN0 is there and the mode is managed. First off, we will enable the monitor mode on WLAN0. So for enabling the monitor mode, we will simply type in here airmon-ng, start WLAN0. Now again do iwconfig, and this time here you can see guys, there is another interface visible here, and the name of that interface is WLAN0 mon, and the mode is monitor. Now the frequency of this USB Wi-Fi adapter on which the monitor mode enabled is 2.4 GHz. So it will only be able to deauthenticate all the clients connected to Wi-Fi routers that are communicating over 2.4 GHz frequency. We will not be able to disconnect the clients that are communicating on 5 GHz frequency. Now first off, we will see the list of all the Wi-Fi routers that are around us, and for that we will run a command called aircrack-ng with WLAN0 mon. Here you can see guys, we have a router named as fmall and its MAC address is this. After running this scan for about 1 minute, please press Ctrl+C together. And here you can see guys, we have a router named as fmall whose MAC address is this. Now we will try to figure out how many clients are connected to this Wi-Fi router C83A35268B40. We will see this router under the list of BSS ID, and here we have it, and the client that is connected to this Wi-Fi router is 9CEFD5FFC5C8, and this is actually my Windows operating system. Let me quickly show you. Here you can see guys, I'm connected to a Wi-Fi router named as fmall. Let me verify the MAC address of my USB Wi-Fi adapter. For that I will simply type in here cmd, and now I will simply type in here ipconfig-all. This will basically give me the MAC address of all the interfaces that I have into my Windows system. The one that we are trying to disconnect is 9CEFD5FFC5C8. Now we will look for this interface, and here we have it, 9CE5D5FFC5C8, meaning this is our Windows system and we are trying to disconnect the Windows system from the FMall Wi-Fi router. Now for disconnecting this client from the FMall Wi-Fi router, we will make the use of a command called AIRCRACK-NG. Now we will tell this command that we need to send some amount of packet to a particular Wi-Fi router, and these packets will be the deauthentication packets. We are going to send around 1000 packets to this particular Wi-Fi router. -A stands for the access point, and access point is the MAC address of my router. Simply paste here. -C stands for the client, and the client that is connected to this Wi-Fi router is this. So copy this and paste in here. Now we will specify the monitor mode interface. Now let me repeat the command again. The command name is AIRCRACK-NG. Number of deauthentication packets that we are sending from our USB Wi-Fi adapter to the FMall router is 1000. -A stands for the access point to which we are sending the deauthentication packets. -C stands for the client for which we are sending the deauthentication packet. It means we are telling the FMall Wi-Fi router that hey, you need to disconnect this MAC address from your Wi-Fi router. And we are doing all these things on WLAN0mon. Before running this command, let me quickly show you that I am able to browse on my Windows PC. This is my Windows PC and I'm successfully able to browse as well. Now we will hit enter and we will see if my Windows 10 will get disconnected from my Wi-Fi router or not. Alright guys, so there is a problem that our WLAN0mon is operating on channel 10, but this access point is using the channel 6, meaning we are operating our monitor mode on channel 10, but FMall Wi-Fi router is using the channel number 6, so we have to enable the monitor mode on channel number 6. You can check your old commands by typing Ctrl R together, and then you can search for your command that you have used previously. Here I will type in here stop WLAN0mon. This will disable the monitor mode. Now we will see the list of all the interfaces that we have. And here you can see guys, WLAN0 is back again with the mode managed. Now we will again start the monitor mode. And this time we will specify the channel. And for specifying the channel, simply type in here the channel number. Since AP was operating on the channel number 6, so we will also enable the monitor mode on channel number 6. So we will type in here 6 and hit enter. Now we will again run that command. Simply copy this command. Now what this command is doing, let me quickly tell you. This is the command name, these are the deauthentication packets. So what we are doing here is we are telling this Wi-Fi router that hey, you need to disconnect this particular MAC address from the stations list, and for disconnecting this client from this Wi-Fi router we are sending the 1000 deauthentication packets. Alright, now let's hit enter, and here you can see guys, we are sending the deauthentication packets. Meanwhile, let me quickly show you if my Windows PC is disconnected or not. Alright guys, so here you can see it has been disconnected and it is again tried to connect. Meanwhile, let me also try to browse something, if we are able to browse or not. And here you can see guys, we are successfully able to disconnect the Windows 10 PC from the FMall Wi-Fi router. We are still sending the deauthentication to that particular router. Now if we will press the Ctrl C here, then we will be able to browse on our Windows 10. So let me press the Ctrl C here and let me quickly show you that we will be able to browse on the Windows PC. Here you can see guys. So that is completely working fine. In the next video we will talk about the WPA2 Wi-Fi cracking. Hello guys, welcome to the fourth video of fifth section. In this video, I am going to talk about how we can capture the handshake of a particular Wi-Fi router. So now the question comes, what is handshake? In generic term, whenever a client tries to connect to a particular Wi-Fi router, it sends the password in the encrypted format to the Wi-Fi router. And it also gets the acknowledgement. So this is basically a four-way handshake between the client that is trying to connect to the Wi-Fi router and the Wi-Fi router to which the client is trying to connect. So what we are going to do in this video is we will forcefully try to disconnect the client connected to a particular Wi-Fi router. So when it will be disconnected, then it will again try to connect to that particular Wi-Fi router. And when it will again try to connect to that Wi-Fi router, then it will send the password keys back to the Wi-Fi router. And meanwhile, we will be capturing that whole communication between the client and the Wi-Fi router in a file. And once we will have that handshake into a file, then we will try to crack that handshake via brute force or dictionary attack. So that's the procedure that we are going to follow in this video. Now let me open up the Kali Linux. In the previous video, we have enabled the monitor mode on channel number 6. As you can see here, and our Wi-Fi router, which is FMall, was also operating on the channel number 6. So we will continue this video from the last video, alright? Now we will type near AIRCRACK-NG, WLAN0mon. Now here you can see guys, we have FMall Wi-Fi router. Now we are actually trying to see how many clients are connected to this Wi-Fi router. And here you can see guys, we have got our answer. This is the MAC address of FMall, and the station that is connected to this FMall Wi-Fi router is 9CEFT5, which is actually my Windows 10. Now I will type near AIRCRACK-NG, and then I will specify the BSS ID, and BSS ID is the MAC address of the Wi-Fi router. And here I need to specify the channel, and channel is 6. Alright, we have also specified the monitor mode interface. Now we will write all this communication into a file called fmall. File will be created with the name fmall on the home directory. Now let's hit enter. There is something wrong in the command. Alright, so we have to specify double hyphen in the channel. Hit enter again. Now we are sniffing that particular router and we are writing all the data into a file called fmall. Now we will split this terminal horizontally. Now what we will do is we will try to disconnect this station forcefully from this router. And when it will again try to connect back to this router, then the handshake will be automatically captured into the file called fmall, since we are writing all the data packets into a file called fmall. Now let's try to deauthenticate this. I'll simply type in a Ctrl R together, and I will search for the command called AirReplay. And here you can see guys, this is the command that we have used in the previous video. All we have to do is to just decrease the number of packets. Let me keep 20 packets here, running this attack on this Wi-Fi router, which is fmall, and we are trying to disconnect this station or this client from this particular Wi-Fi router. And our monitor mode interface is WLAN0. Now let me hit enter. Now it will start sending the 20 deauthentication packets. And here you can see guys, WPA handshake for this MAC address is available now. It means we have successfully captured the WPA handshake. Now we will press the Ctrl C together on the upper window. Now we will do the ls-lrtha. And here you can see guys, there are 5 files have been created. And we are interested in fmall01.cap file because this is the file in which the handshake is available. So this was the video in which I told you how you can capture the WPA2 or WPA handshake into a file. In the next video, we will create a password word list to crack this WPA handshake file. Hello guys, welcome to the fifth video of fifth section. In this video, I am going to tell you that how you can create the password word list using a tool called Crunch. In the previous video, we have generated these 5 files, out of which we are going to make the use of fmall01.cav file because this is the file in which the handshake is written. Now before we really go ahead and try to crack the WPA handshake, we have to ensure that we should have a word list, meaning the set of password by which we can try to hack the router password. So we will have to make one for us, and for making this we will make the use of a tool called Crunch. Let's say if you are not sure about the minimum and the maximum password length, and in that range the password will be created. Let's say if the password that you are trying to crack has the minimum length of 5 and maximum length of 7, then you can define it like that. Now here we need to define the set of characters and the numbers out of which the password is going to be generated. Let's say my password have these characters and numbers. Now we will write all the combination of these characters and the numbers into a file called test1.txt. Now what Crunch tool will do is, it will basically perform the permutation and the combination of this expression, and the minimum length of the password will be 5 and the maximum length of the password will be 7, and based on that it will write all the permutation and the combinations into a file called test1.txt. So let's hit enter. Now it is going to generate a file with the size of 7 MB. And here you can see guys, 100% completed generating the output. Now we can open this file. The file name was test1.txt, and here you can see guys. So these are all the combinations of the password that has been generated by the Crunch tool. If you are trying to crack a password and you don't have any clue about the password, then it will be very difficult for you to crack it. So whenever you are trying to perform the brute force attack against any user account or the Wi-Fi password, then make sure you should have the clue of that particular Wi-Fi password. As you guys know that my Windows 10 is connected to a FMall Wi-Fi router, and we are trying to hack the password of my own Wi-Fi router. Alright guys, so now I will try to create a password specifically for my FMall Wi-Fi router. First of all, we will mention the name of the command. And I know that my password is 11 characters long, so the minimum length will be 11 and the maximum length will also be 11. And I know that my password will only be having the characters, no symbols and no numeric words. So I will specify A to Z here. And now I need to specify the template. My password is starting from BE. Let us assume that I don't know anything in between. And I know that it is ending with PER. So intentionally I'm using an easy password so that I can demonstrate you how you can crack the password of the WPA or WPA2 Wi-Fi routers by using AIRCRACK-NG brute force method. Alright guys, so now we will write all this data into a file called test2.txt. Now let me repeat the command again. Crunch is the name of the command. 11 is the minimum length of the password and maximum length of the password is also 11, and this is the complete regular expression since my password doesn't have any numeric character as well as any symbol. My password is starting from BE and it is ending with PER, and we are writing all this data into a file called test2.txt. Now I will hit enter, and here you can see guys, the size of the word list that is going to be generated is 3 GB. It is taking a little time to complete. And here you can see guys, we have completely generated the word list. So these were the two simple ways to generate the word list file. You can also use the Crunch tool to generate some complex word list files. If you want to explore more about Crunch tool, then I will leave the link of an article in the resources file. In the next video, we will try to crack the password of FMall Wi-Fi router using the tool called AIRCRACK-NG. Hello guys, welcome to the 6th video of 5th section. In this video we will try to crack the password of FMall Wi-Fi router, and as you know that from the 4th video we have the handshake of the Wi-Fi router, and from the 5th video we have the word list that we are going to use to crack the password. Now All we have to do is to run the command and it will start the cracking process. We'll make the use of a command called AIRCRACK-NG, and here we need to specify the word list, and the name of the word list that we have specifically created for our Wi-Fi router was test2.txt. And now we need to specify the handshake file name, and it should be in the .cap format. The name of the handshake was fmall. Now before we really go ahead, let me tell you, this file have the encrypted password, and this file is 3 GB long, which is having like millions of passwords. So we are trying to capture the encrypted password into the test2.txt file. Since this is a long file, so it will definitely take some time to crack the password. Let's hit enter. And here you can see guys, the speed of the keys is around 7000. It means 7000 keys are being checked per second. As you can see guys, it took me around 8 hours to crack this password, and we have got the vDeveloper as our Wi-Fi password for fmall Wi-Fi router. So the password cracking that we are doing using the AIRCRACK-NG from the VMware is via the CPU. Since we have got the password, so let's try to connect our Windows 10 to our Wi-Fi router using this password. Click on fmall Wi-Fi router, click on connect, and the password was bdeveloper, BEDEVELOPER. Let me click on view icon, and here you can see guys, the password is vdeveloper. Now let's click on next, click on yes. As you can see guys, we are now successfully connected to our Wi-Fi router using the password that we have cracked. In this case, if the password of the Wi-Fi router will be complex, then it will take years to crack this password. So we will have to figure out a faster way to crack the Wi-Fi password. So in the next video, I will tell you how you can crack the Wi-Fi password up to 40 times faster than AIRCRACK-NG. Hello guys, welcome to the 7th video of 5th section. In this video, we will use the power of GPU to crack the password of the Wi-Fi router. Now we will try to crack the password using a tool called hashcat, and this time we are going to use the power of GPU to crack the password of Wi-Fi router. As you guys know that we have installed the Kali Linux in VMware player. Our Kali Linux will not be able to use the resources of the system. It means our Kali Linux will not be able to use the power of graphics card. So for cracking this password, we are going to make the use of our Windows 10 PC. As you can see here we have the Windows 10. Let me quickly show you the specification of my graphics card. Here you can see guys, I'm using NVIDIA GE4 GTX 1066GB graphics card, and it is a single fan graphics card for which I have also installed the graphics card driver into my Windows 10 operating system. Now to be able to proceed further, we have to download few programs. First one is the hashcat. You can download it from the official website of hashcat. I will leave the link of that website in the resources file. And here you can also see the 7-zip, which is an archiving software. I will also leave the link to this software in the resources file. Now I'm going to right click on the hashcat file that we have downloaded, and I will extract it with the 7-zip. Here you can see guys, hashcat has been extracted. Now I will copy two files from my VMware to my Windows 10 operating system. First file is going to be the handshake file, and second file is going to be the wordlist file. So let me head over to my VMware. Here is the handshake file, and here we have the wordlist file. Simply right click on them and click on copy. Now open up your hashcat and paste here in this directory. Now it will take some time since the size of the word list is around 3 GB. Here you can see guys, both the file has been copied. Now to be able to crack this handshake file, we will have to convert into a special format called scapx. And we can do it from the official website of Hashcat. Simply search your Hashcat scapx converter and click on the very first link. Now here click on this. Now we need to choose our file. We'll go inside Hashcat and we will choose our .cap file. Now we will click on convert. Simply rename this file and we are saving this file in the Hashcat directory itself. Here you can see guys, file has been saved. Now I will head over to my Hashcat directory and I will click on this directory bar and I will type in here cmd. Now the cmd has been opened up. Now we will type in your hashcat 64.exe. Since we are trying to crack the password hash of WPA2 Wi-Fi router, so we will have to specify -m2500. Now after that we will have to specify -w3. Again this is the syntax. And now we need to specify our handshake file, and the name of our handshake file is fmall, and it should be the scapx file. After that we will specify the wordlist file, and the name of wordlist file is test2.txt. Now let me go through the command once again. This is the name of the command, hashcat64.exe. -m2500 is for cracking the WPA2 hashes, and -w3 will speed up the process of cracking this hash via GPU. fml scapx is the converted file that we have converted from the official website of Hashcat, and test2.txt is a wordlist file, and the size of this wordlist is around 3 GB. Now we will notice two things here. First one is the speed of the keys that are being tested per second. If you remember, then in case of AIRCRACK-NG, the keys speed were around 10,000 keys per second. Now we will try to see the keys speed in case of Hashcat tool. And second thing that we need to check is the time. The time taken by AIRCRACK-NG tool to crack that hash was around 7 hours. Now we will figure out how much time Hashcat tool will take to crack this particular hash. And this time we are using the power of GPU. It means we are using our NVIDIA GTX 1060 6GB single fan graphics card. So let's hit enter. And here you can see guys, it is initializing OpenCL runtime for device number 1, and device number 1 is GeForce GTX 1060 6GB. It is initializing the process. Now it is building the cache for the wordlist file. Now here you can see guys, the cracking process has been started. Now let's press S to see the status of the cracking. And here you can see guys, we are trying to crack the WPA hash and the status is running. Name of the hash file is this. And 1,80,000 keys are being tested per second. So if you remember exactly, in case of AIRCRACK-NG, it was only able to test around 9,000 keys per second. But here in case of Hashcat tool, which is using the power of GPU, is able to test around 1,80,000 keys per second. Here you can also see the temperature of the CPU and the fan speed. Here you can see the estimated time it is showing to crack this particular file is 26 minutes. And that was around 7 hours in case of AIRCRACK-NG tool. So we will wait for about 26 minutes and then I will be back again. Here you can see guys, 90% of the keys has been tested out. The temperature of the CPU is 70 degrees Celsius and the fan is at 51%. And utilization of the GPU is 100%. And the keys speed is around 1,80,000 keys per second. Here you can see guys, the cracking process has been finished. It has took around 26 minutes to finish this process. And again the password is bdeveloper. So that's how you can use the power of GPU to crack the password of a Wi-Fi router.
Now if you want to explore the wireless penetration testing in detail, then I will leave the link to some of the good resources in the resources file, where you can get to know about the evil twin and the fake access point attacks. And not only that, there are some links to the video where you can get to know how you can crack the password of a admin login page of a Wi-Fi router. So this is the end of the 5th section. If you want to learn more about the wireless penetration testing, then please refer to the resources files.